to
Real
play with
quick,
the monster trucks and
real
stuff.
quick,
It's
like
racing
get
day.
that button real quick, like.
But I'll bet it's
I like how he hit the
she's
record button
letting
as soon
go
as he
with the
stopped
off
lying.
the
I hear it, Bucko.
Ooh, I can drive
I wasn't
this.
paying attention before, so
I'm
I
a
was
fan
in
of it.
game mode.
Hey,
I was in game mode.
So,
hey.
so are we serious mode when the record here or nah?
You're all right.
I'm serious all the time. I tell you
Yo,
that earlier.
y'all are never serious. What's wrong?
Didn't I
What's
say that
wrong?
earlier?
Yeah, man. Said
Y'all
I'm
are
serious
never
all the
serious.
time.
I'm
Did we
normally
have
saying
a
something
conversation
but
earlier?
that's what the
And I said
problem
I'm serious, right? Did I say that or no?
I like to think I'm rather
You say a
serious. I'm
lot
not
of
the
things.
same.
You say a lot of things.
So and they true.
I think I'm the most serious one out of all of us. If we
Here
want to
we
be
go.
serious,
It's
Who said
definitely
that?
time to pray. It's
Who
definitely
said
time
that?
to pray.
I said that.
Who's I?
Davon said it.
You know what?
What
I
was
thought
it?
it sounded like that lion voice, but you never
Lie.
really know. What?
Lie.
What? Are you not
What
laying down?
was it?
Lie.
Are you not laying down?
This nigga is
Yeah,
retarded.
man.
Yo,
He's laying down. Oh, that boy ain't
for,
sleepy.
for the sake
Sleep,
of
sleep,
for the
sleepy.
sake of how excited I am, I'm
about to
gonna
kick
be
it off.
honest. Yeah, I mean I've been honest already, but I'm gonna be real honest. For the
The
sake
fact that you
of
threw that in tells me that you wasn't being honest.
Yeah, he been watching
Sound
the
like you
I'll
was
debate.
be
lying
real,
before.
real,
He been
real
watching
honest
the
what I'm saying.
debate.
Nigga
the
said he
sake
been watching the
of-
debate. I hate you,
For the
Chris.
sake,
He tried you up, huh? He tried you up for real on that one.
Hey, that is real. That's how they say it. That's crazy. I'm being. You said it was serious mode. I'm being serious. Serious mode. Serious face. Serious face.
You know, the sad part is that you really trying to act like you were serious. That's
Yo,
the problem right there.
Shoot.
Go ahead,
This
Al.
nigga's
Chris
stupid.
is
for the sake
retarded.
of the fact that I'm so excited, September's out of here as of right now, because this day
Wait.
is over.
Well, you might as well
Till the
stop.
30th.
We're still in September.
30th.
Yeah, I need you to hold on, Bucko. Whoa,
30
you were
days
acting
in September.
unusual.
30
Is today
days.
the 30th?
30 days has September, April,
Is today the
June, and
30th?
November. Today is the last day. So as far as I'm
So
concerned,
no, it's not as far as you're concerned. Facts
Yeah,
is
thank
facts.
you,
You're
Hop.
recording
Thank you,
this.
James.
It's
as
still
far as I'm
September.
concerned, today is the last day of September. And because it was your
You
day
said
yesterday,
September was over with. That
Couldn't
wasn't
have
the
got
exact word.
that earlier.
I'm
That's
willing to
bad.
allow
Could've got
you to
like that
start.
earlier.
I'm willing to allow you to start. But if you don't want to start,
That's
I'm
bad.
out of here.
Anything.
Who's starting?
That's bad.
Not
No,
you.
you're definitely not out of here. I don't know what you think you're doing.
Your birthday's over with. Your
I
birthday's over.
don't care about birthdays.
How
So
far
I'm
is
gonna be
it?
talking to him right now.
I don't care who you're talking to.
Okay.
Okay,
It's
well, then say that.
towards.
Lord and Heavenly Father.
It's
we-
going.
No,
It's going
you
to-
told
Going to
Davon
Brooklyn.
he could go first.
He's not ready to go.
How
I
you
am.
tell that man
Father,
what he's
we
ready
thank
to
you.
do?
We thank
No,
you.
no,
We thank you.
no.
Humbly
Davon,
we
go
come
ahead,
to you.
baby. Go ahead, Davon.
Humbly we come
It's your
to thee.
it's your world, man. Come on,
What's
dog.
the problem, man?
Because today's not your birthday.
Today's not
It
my
ain't his
birthday.
birthday either.
It
His
don't
birthday
matter.
was yesterday.
His birthday was the
I mean,
closest.
Technically, every day, everyone's birthday because you're another day older, just not a year.
If you don't
Chris.
ever
I
say
don't even know why
something
you.
dumb
I don't even know why you
Chris.
listen to that. Why
Am
you
I lying?
respond?
Am I lying?
Ezra.
Hey,
Why you
Ezra.
they
respond?
say
You
kids.
live.
Hey, they say kids tell the truth, and
I
when
don't
you ask
want
a
to
kid
mute
their
him.
age,
I
they
don't
get
feel like him right now. It's either you're going or you're not going, sir. And if you're not going, I'm pretty fine with that.
So
Believe
it's
you
going
me.
to a
Davon, don't let
10.
that man rush you though. That's the code though.
You
Just
keep talking
pass
about
him.
Russian. I said you said serious mode. I'm in
Let that
serious mode.
man go on his own time. You can't rush
Go
it.
ahead, yo. Go ahead, John. You're
Lord
rushing.
Oh,
Heavenly
I
Father,
feel right.
we
Pull
thank
it
you
up.
for this
right.
day.
This is
Grab
crazy.
another.
You don't want to let me pray.
Pull it up.
Chris is out of control.
You don't want to let me pray.
Hey, wait. Since Davon yielded his birthday
To
time,
me, he yielded it to me.
so does it go to the next person whose birthday was recent?
Okay,
We
so I'm
out
gonna
of
get off.
September.
I know where it's at.
No, we're
Not
still.
about
saying
September no
that.
more.
But I'm asking.
It's the
asking.
30th. We not out of September.
But I'm asking. Does
I
it?
bet you would be out of here as soon as you blink.
Yeah, you're not gonna answer my question, dude.
He yielded it to me. What else do you want?
No, but
Rock, paper, scissors.
but the opportunity was given to
Open-handed
the
fist.
other month. So since he
Rock,
gave
paper,
his
scissors. I
away,
hear you.
that means it goes to the next person whose birthday was this month. Who was that, James?
Why are you still dealing with the month? Why are you going back into September? We're trying to get out of September. What are you doing?
Saying back for, man? We still in September.
But then you're going further back. I was willing to go to yesterday. That's
Say
it.
45.
I'm going
I'm not going further. You're not going further back because you're still in September. Whether it's the 1st or the 30th, it's still September.
So if you go from tomorrow to last week or the week before that, are you not going backwards?
It's still 2020. Am I lying or am I flying? Am I lying or am I flying?
I just thought you was in serious mode. That's all.
I am.
Yeah. I thought there was a new
face
norm.
changed.
I thought it was a new norm in 2020.
I don't know what he's doing.
That's crazy.
Rock, paper, scissors. Just rock, paper, scissors out whoever trying to go first with E.
I did it.
Last time I checked.
I said yesterday he was going first. If
We're not dealing with what he said yesterday.
Wait. So we gotta be on the phone to call this?
You said you're willing to go back till yesterday.
You missed prayer. That's what
That's
we
why we're
talked
not
about.
dealing with that.
That's crazy. I didn't know.
Don't do him like that. We got people watching. It's a recording.
I didn't know prayer time.
I didn't know prayer time was this time.
It's not
It's
this
not
time.
this
That's why we
time,
disregarded it.
That's what
No,
John said.
Ezra, you can't do that.
No, I'm saying.
You just said you're willing to go back till yesterday. That happened yesterday.
Is your birth? Yesterday was your birthday. I'm willing to go back to your birthday and respect your birthday.
That's happened on my birthday.
Then I'm disrespecting your birthday now. I'm saying it's over with. Just like the month of September.
Yeah, this is retarded, bro.
Hey, Vaughn, it's just important that you realize your uncle lies. That's all that's important.
Listen, hey,
I'm willing
Damon.
to go back to the fact that yesterday was his birthday. Not every event that happened yesterday.
You said you don't want to
Damon.
disrespect his birthday, and now you saying then I'm disrespecting your birthday. Which one?
He yielded. I didn't yield. I offered.
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Okay. If you offer Hyder a dozen roses and a free meal.
I don't offer her roses. She don't like them.
Are you gonna give her a dozen roses and a free meal?
She tell me roses died, so she don't like them. So I'm just gonna give her the meal. You lose.
Yo, y'all play so much, yo.
Come on, Hop. Yo, what are you doing? We waiting on you.
Yeah, man, this supposed to be a new. This supposed to be a new beginning, and you out here playing.
Would you start already, man? Dang.
Lord Heavenly Father, we just thank you for allowing us to get into your presence once again, to join each other's company, to share not only notes and thoughts and ideas, but laughter and joy, as well as love. Father, as we get ready to dive into your word, as we have prepared notes, Lord, still take our notes and give us insight, give us information, give us advice, give us direction as far as where you're having us to go, what you would have us to know, what you would have us to learn, and as far as what you would have us to do. Have your way in this session. We thank you for allowing Damon to join us. We praise you in Jesus' name. All right.
Hey, John,
before
you start, did you reach out to Reg? I know he was excited about this chapter.
You see, I sent a message in the group chat that says 3 on, waiting for more, and Hop join.
Hop joined because Yoshi called him, and we want to be serious.
Oh, I didn't know that. I sent the message. Would you like for me to call? I call.
It was just a question. Yo.
I don't know why you wait till now for me to call.
He's just now calling. This is crazy.
He doesn't care. That's the problem. That's the problem. He doesn't care.
Somebody came unprepared. And he know that's his job. That's your role. You said last week you accepted your role. You were accepting your role.
Did I call you yesterday in the morning?
Let me check. Hold on.
Why did you even ask him, Hop?
Did I call you one time or I called you twice? Or more than one time?
You know what? Sometimes my phone's on Do Not Disturb, so if you call me twice, I may have woken up. You gotta call me twice.
Live phones. Hey, live phones not only produce live phones, they also produce live.
Call me twice.
But that's
I said sometimes it might be. Hey, You say iPhones be raggedy. That's what you say, right? So you know,
And you're proving it to be the case. You're helping me. I
you only
appreciate it.
call me
Everybody else
one
that you
time.
call
That's
had an
crazy.
iPhone.
All right. So just so you know, there's a dial. I won't show you anything else. There is a dial. And
Well, I don't want to see nothing else. I don't know what you be having on your phone.
I'm off. Cool beans. So here's where I'm at.
I thought you was calling what's it called?
I was. I did.
No.
I didn't see the name. I didn't see the name.
Say
You could have called the number 0 for all I know.
And you the most serious one out the group?
My first
I
point.
am.
My first point in First Kings is verse 1. My
Midget.
first point in First Kings, verse 1 is the normal won't work. So it says, now King David, was old and advanced in age. Although they covered him with bedclothes, he could not get warm. So I said, ever since COVID hit us, I have consistently heard of a new normal. I've heard, and I do believe the idea of going back to Egypt will seem like a good idea. Going back to what was familiar would be first thought and for many. Not liking your Egypt while in Egypt, yet wanting to go back in the presence of new, different, unfamiliar, seems weird, but many have gone through this thought process. King David at this moment is old and cold. Being active would generate body heat, and being covered with bedcloths or sheets and blankets would present him with warmth. Now that he is old, he is not as active as he used to be, and so body heat is not being generated. At the same time, being advanced in age, bedcloths are not doing the job of warming his body. What we used to do or be able to do, we won't be able to do. The level of relationship with God is increasing, for the responsibility from God is enhancing. To whom much is given, much is required. Our commitment to him has to adjust, for he wants to give us more of him. Your today should look different than your yesterday, for things in you and around you are shifting. What you see, notice, hear, listen to, speak and say, as well as movements and maneuvering, will be altered, not to be alarmed, but to help us be more aware of him and his calling in our life. Not only will your actions change, but also the things around you. The, the thing that once kept him warm will no longer work for him. The things that once kept us won't be able to keep us. Kept us engaged, kept us interested, kept us entertained, kept us alert or awake. These things will no longer work for us. We are coming to a place where only God can, only God will. If it's not his word or the words from him or from God, it will not sustain us. In this season, we must not look back, wishing to return to normal, but look up and forward, trusting his normal. His normal for his normal,
Oh, okay.
his normal for he does not change.
Huh?
He is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. His normal for what we thought was normal simply was our ways mixed with his. Now we must fully accept his way. My next point is verses 2 through 4. So it says,
What
not
kind
to
of ice cream
harm
you
you,
got? Oh,
not to harm you. I have plans for you, plans not
they
to
got like
harm
a,
you, but to prosper you,
they got like
plans to give you an
Krispy
expected hope
Kreme
for the
type ice
future.
cream.
At first thought, what difference does it make whether she is not, well,
Some
she
of that,
is
yeah.
or is not a virgin? And then it made sense. Someone to be around to keep King David company, someone to assist him in his movings and dealings and endeavors, someone who he wouldn't push away, but someone who he would still respect. King David knew what it was like to be with a pretty young thing, a fine tenderoni, and he knew intimacy, and he knew intimacy with the young lady. So King David's men or new servants searched and brought to him a pretty young virgin. King David, although old, was not blind, so bringing him a pretty lady to lie by his side and be his caregiver could potentially mean a pretty lady to lie beside him and be a giver of whatever he cares or chooses. Remember, he is a king still. In today's society, there is mention of groupies who throw themselves at the feet of stars. I would like to believe a king had that possibility in his favor as well. So his servants may have heard from God or someone, or just being wise enough to determine that King David didn't need the temptation or distraction at the moment. For us, let us connect with, join with, and become associated with those that will not distract or tempt us. Connected with those that we won't immediately dismiss, those that we trust by our side, who not only respect themselves, but also are respected and respectful. Those who want nor expect anything from us. I would like to believe this young virgin didn't expect royalty from the king while serving him. She might have been thankful enough to be doing the Father's business. We need to be more connected and joined with this group of people, especially in this season. In this season, we will need help, for if a king needs help, we will as well. And my last point is verses 5 through 9. So walking in it. Adonijah felt the want to be next king or be the next king. He understood that he was not qualified and didn't allow this to stop him. We must begin to behave and have a mindset like Adonijah. We must recognize who our Father in God is and that he calls the unqualified. Adonijah kept declaring over his own life that I will be king. Not only did he declare it, but he began to act like a king, performing certain tasks or acts that a king would. He was certain to speak these things around those who would not speak against him, while avoiding those who would. We have to know who might be on our side and who might wish to oppose us in what we are wishing or striving for. If we believe we are called, although not qualified, we ought not to let the lack of qualification stop us from walking in it. Tisha often says, we may have to fake it till we make it. Begin walking it now, or walking in it now. And that's my chapter 1. Whoever's going next, can y'all hold for a second? Please?
Oh my
Man,
God.
we didn't make him hold. That's crazy.
Do it right here.
Everything okay?
That's crazy.
This nigga stupid.
Yo, the
This
quicker
stupid.
you go, the quicker the
Okay,
next
well, you
person
said
can
something, so I was just
I was
responding.
speaking to the fellas. You was leaving, so I was speaking to everybody else.
Chris, yo.
Yo, Big Damon, I can't even see you, my guy.
He's playing the game right now. Probably can't even hear us.
Oh, he playing it. Oh, okay. That's fine. Man, turn
Muted.
his mic off. That's crazy.
So I'm gonna take the executive decision. Just go next.
We do, boy.
Wait, what?
Nah, you can't just be like, yo, I'm going next.
Yo, I started speaking before he told me to hold.
It was dead silent. What are you talking about, Sway?
How was it dead silent? I started speaking.
It was dead silent. You could hear a mouse pissing on
I
cotton in the
was
corner.
sweet. I was speaking.
You
Oh,
was
cotton
sweeping.
in the
You was
corner.
sweeping. You was sweeping.
Devon.
That's what you was about to say.
I was speaking. Yeah.
Devon, you want to show my dad your watch now? Does he feel some type of way?
Freaking black people.
Okay.
Yeah, let me see that
I'll
watch.
show
Can't
Let me
trust
see
them.
that watch though, real
Show
quick.
him
Let me
after
see
I
that
go.
real quick, man.
Huh?
Hey, drip check, man. Drip check.
That is okay. Try to play me.
Say what?
Hey, drip check.
Drip check. My faucet's not leaking. I'm good. Appreciate it though.
Oh,
Never. Not sure if I ever told you this, Cuzzo.
No.
No, hey Yoshi.
Not sure. Not very
Yoshi.
sure.
Can I tell you a secret? Can I tell you
I
a
may
secret?
have. I may have. Maybe
Can
once
I
or twice.
tell
But I
you
want you to
a
know.
secret? Hey, Hop.
Hold on. I hate
Hop. Hop.
Yo,
Hop.
yo,
Get control of your brother. He's speaking out of turn.
control my brother.
Speaking out of
Listen, tell
turn.
him Miss Smith did
I
not give
just-
him the
Woman.
speaking ball.
Leave me alone.
If
Tell
you ask
him
Damon,
Miss
Damon
Smith.
stay with the
Miss
speaking ball.
Sissy.
Damon stay with the speaking ball.
Hell, man, Miss Smith did not give him the speaking
You
ball.
don't got the speaking ball either.
So,
What are you doing?
All right, he's back. All right, let me go ahead and dabble.
Yeah.
how does this work? Yo,
You
Yeah,
got it. I'm
yeah.
still
I'm kinda confused
I'm
why
still
you
here on the
yielded.
screen.
Wait,
I'm still here on the screen. Yo. Go ahead.
is Ezra back or nah? Hold on.
Can you see? Is your live phone working?
This man blind.
It doesn't allow you to do two things at once. My bad.
You
I
didn't
forgot.
say whether you was back or not. I didn't know what was going
Blind
on.
Bartimaeus. I
I
hate
say
you.
I'm
Go ahead,
back. If
Cuzzo.
you look, then you would see.
I don't know what you got going on in your own
all
household.
right. Yeah. All right.
Who going
You
next?
ready? You ready? All right, we
I'm
good?
ready. I'm ready, Bucko.
All right, so my first Kings, my only point is looks can be deceiving. Adonijah put a facade to make people believe he was king. He created his own royal walk through the city. He had a royal dinner and had it to the point that he even had everyone saying, "Long live King Adonijah." And it
Let's
made me
hurry up
think.
and get off of that.
You said what? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
He said, "Good point. Hurry up and finish."
I was reading. I couldn't hear you. What you said?
Good point.
Oh, okay, I thought that's what he said. And it made me think, God, how many people have a facade? Wow. How many people have on a facade because they don't want people to know who they really are? How many people rock all the new clothes or shoes or jewelry, but they're struggling to pay their bills?
Well, you
How
better
many
talk
people-
about it.
Ooh.
Huh?
I said
How
you
many
better talk
people-
about it.
How many people do we allow in our lives because they act like they act the way they act? They put on a facade that they are a friend, yet the whole time they want our place. They want what we have. And I
Better
pray,
ask
Lord,
Rod
help.
Wave.
Hey, bro, chill out. You know what I mean? No one called it but you. Leave me alone. And I pray, Lord, help me to see through it all. Help me to see who you are bringing into my life, and help me see who is just trying to infiltrate my life. And that's my
Hey,
first.
man, great.
I like
great
that.
points. Great
I like
points.
that.
Good
I
point.
do like that.
Okay. I don't like that you went behind me and went that route, but it's cool. I mean, I'd rather
you mean?
have gone first because you kind of like.
All right, man. I think
I'm a
I think
dabble.
I'm gonna go. Oh man.
I couldn't hear
Come
what you were saying,
on,
Ezra.
come
Go
on,
ahead,
come
man.
on, come
Go ahead,
on.
man.
I'm gonna get in and out like a robber. You know what I mean? I only got 2 points.
I couldn't hear what Ezra said though. I couldn't hear what Ezra said.
Nah, I just said you went a different route. That's all. You good.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have went a different route, then I would have felt the same way. It's better you feel the same way and not me.
But if you would have led, then it would have been okay. But it's cool. I got
I
you.
don't see how we're okay, even though you led. I don't see the problem.
So my first point in chapter 1, I put too soon / arrogance verses 5 through 9. I put you go through all the trouble of getting a chariot, horsemen, making alliances with people for a position that you don't end up even being selected for, which, by the way, to me is hilarious. But nevertheless, you don't get picked for this. I put, man, this is so crazy. Pretty sure we know someone, if not have been that someone, that feels like, man, I got this in the bag, Brody. Like, y'all might as well go home, wrap it up, go ahead and pack stuff up, go home because I'm here and I got this. Just to get embarrassed because you don't get the spot that you came in there bragging that you got and that you didn't even get selected. They decided to go another route. He celebrated too soon and became too arrogant, thinking too much of himself, that even if you were at one point an option, that your actions and your heart posture caused you to forfeit what possibly could have been yours. a lot of people don't believe that God will give another what was meant to be for was. A lot of people don't believe that God will give another what was meant to be for them. And you hear it in phrases, no one can take what God has for me, and what's for me is mine, and not no one themselves, and they can't take it. And it can be taken and passed by any what in the world? It can be taken and given to someone else. But it can be passed by all the way to you can be passed by all the way to the point where it didn't even invite you. No, what the heck? How did I write that?
The pen.
What is for
Probably.
me is for me.
Oh no, you typed
Not
it.
knowing that they themselves can cause it to be taken, but not only taken, but passed all the way from you to the point where he didn't even invite you or any of your other circle. You invited everybody but your brother and everybody else, but your brother only invited his inner circle, and we all know where his brother ends up anyway as being a king. And then my last point is verses 11 through 14. I put this dialogue here low-key made me feel some type of way because of the way that it came across. To me, it seemed like they were setting David up while he was sick. And David was going back on his word or reneging on his word, especially for it to be said that Adonijah is king and David doesn't even know. It means that David never blessed him to be king and still has every intention on Solomon filling that role. So for that conversation from verses 11 to 14, I kind of feel like the way that they had that convo was kind of like
Hey,
saying,
you get
"Yo,
off of that, man.
I guess you got it in your notes.
I don't like what you're doing, dog, man.
I leave it alone. LIG. I hit it with LIG. That's
Nah,
my
if it's your
Let
note,
it
for real, I
go.
want you to say it.
nah. That's not my note. I just felt like that
He
whole
was ad libbing. He
conversation.
was ad libbing.
Oh,
No,
okay.
that's my note. I'm gonna need you to stop it.
Ad libbing.
But I
Freestyling.
just felt like 11 through 14, like they were trying to almost like David is sick, he's dying. He doesn't really know what he's doing. Like Adonijah saying he's king, but he's supposed to be giving it to Solomon. And so I just kind of felt like they were trying to low key trying to slander his name or something. But yeah, that was all I had for my second note. I didn't really have anything else going into it crazy or nothing. So, I'm done.
All right. Go ahead and dive in real quick, Mom. So, my theme for First King is leadership direction. And then I put, as with all our studies, I'd love to begin with some context for the book we're about to dive into. So, first of all, First Kings and Second Kings was initially just one book, was divided into two. And the purpose of First Kings is to contrast the lives of those who live for God and those who refuse to
Yeah,
do
close on.
so through the history of the kings of Israel. The original audience was the people of Israel. The key people, we have David, King Solomon, then the other kings and prophets, Rehoboam, Jeroboam, Elijah, Ahab, and Jezebel. But we start with King Solomon and his reign, the eventual decline and eventual dissolution of the monarchy in Israel, and then the expulsion of God's people in Israel. So chapters 1 through 11, we are given an abbreviated account of Solomon's reign. And then I put four important things to note important early on is how Solomon came into the throne, his renown for wisdom, the building of the temple and the palace, and then last, his demise and the reasons for it. So my first point for chapter 1 is God had other plans / you can't force your desire on God. So I put, as we dive into chapter 1, we're introduced to David in his old age. My interpretation is that he is probably either not very mobile or extremely bedstricken, as we see what would be described as today as a home nurse caring for him. Immediately we see that And Uzziah woke up one day and was like, well, it's time for me to be king. Seemingly because he felt like it. Seemingly because he felt like it. Because through my study, he was not the next in line. As we look at the lineage, Adonijah was David's fourth son. We find out through further study that David's first son was Amnon, had been killed for having raped his sister in 1 Samuel. David's second son, Daniel, is believed to have died. And his third son, Absalom, who killed Amnon, had died in an earlier rebellion. So we get context for David's other sons, but we read through verse 27 that Adonijah tried to do his own thing. We know he was trying to be sneaky because he purposely did not invite certain people, and there were others who refused to support him. So we can fairly interpret that he was aware that he was probably not supposed to succeed his father. This segues to my main points for the chapter. Adonijah had his mind made up of trying to force himself to be king, but God had other plans, and that you can't force your desire on God's will for our lives. As David confirms with Bathsheba, we see in verse 32 evidence that confirms, if we were ever unsure of the fact that Adonijah was not to be the next king, because David called in the exact individuals Adonijah refused to invite to help him take the throne, which were Nathan the prophet and Benaniah the king's bodyguard. As this chapter closes with Adonijah being told that Solomon became king, we see him run to the sacred tent and ask him for forgiveness. But this is a life lesson for us. We must continually seek God for direction and guidance. We must not conjure our own plans or have ulterior motives, and then run to God when we realize our plans are futile. God is merciful and his grace endures, as we see here where Solomon let Adonijah go home. And that's my chapter 1.
You can do it. You don't need my help. Can you talk? And then I can't. You still have to do it. Here you go. You still have to do it. Exactly.
Well, why'd you mute it in the first place then?
Because he was talking and I
He
heard
out here
something.
being rude.
That wasn't me.
No,
Yeah.
it was the TV. So I just muted you so it wouldn't be heard.
Ain't no TV in my house on.
Go back to the room you just came out of.
You want me to go back to the room?
I really don't.
Oh,
I really
okay.
don't.
Yeah. Yeah. About to
Really
prove
don't.
you all kinds of wrong.
TV behind you look like it's on.
It's okay.
You want to? Do you want to see the TV? I'll take you to the TV.
I just said
You wanna
TV
see
behind
TV?
you.
I know what you
You've been in the
said.
car this whole time, Yosh?
I would like you to see it. You want to see it?
He just got in the car.
There we go. Yeah, I told you on fire today, boy. Hey, you on fire today, man. Oh God, my head is hurting so bad, yo.
See?
Better get some Tylenol. Not Tylenol. I know you don't take a leave.
Yeah, I don't mess with
That's
Tylenol.
what happened when you play so much, yo.
Nah, it was hurting. It was hurting way before I even got on the phone.
Nigga, stupid.
That means you was playing before you got on the phone. That's the worst part.
Nah, it's
And
just the
you was
body
driving
adjusting.
before you got on the phone.
Just
That means you was
adjusting.
playing- You was
Just
playing
adjusting.
and
It's just adjusting.
playing
You like
and
to hear
driving.
yourself
That
talk,
doesn't sound safe.
and I like to hear
Little
you
touches.
talk.
Little
Because
touches.
I like to let people talk who like to talk so they can see how full of they are.
All right, Jackie Chan.
I was so deep right there, boy. I was so deep, boy.
You was playing and driving. That
Jackie
sounds
Chan.
unsafe,
No, dude, hold on. Let
Yo,
him have his
Hop, it's your
moment.
turn. It's your turn.
You can't. Chris walked away. I at least was responsible and kind enough to say, "Hold on, fellas."
I'm still here.
He just walked away.
Chris must be at work.
You get up and walk away.
Face. He's stuffing his face. He can't even laugh with food in his mouth. It's crazy.
I'm still
Look
here.
at him. Snack man. Yeah, that's me.
Snack,
Got a whole
snacky.
donut.
Oh,
This
no.
nigga
Dang, okay.
Oh,
You
wait.
done fulfilled my spot for today. Normally, I'm the one snacking. You done snatched my spot. I appreciate it.
You on your way to
no.
get snacks. Don't try to do that.
I'm on my way to get dinner. Not snacks, dinner.
You say.
You
Try to
gonna
have
be
Let
that
me
able,
more
be great.
you gonna be
appetite.
able to go? You want me to go? You want me to go for you?
Do you
James
want
is
to
going,
mute
ain't he?
yourself? Do you want to mute yourself? You don't
Did
want
he
to do that?
already go? Wait,
Do
did he
you want to
already
No,
mute
go?
James.
yourself?
I'm
James
going
It's a
into
never
the
simple
went.
next
question.
chapter.
It's a simple
Caesar.
I'm going
question.
into the
I'm going.
next
I'm
chapter.
going first.
Do you
I'm going
want to
first.
mute yourself?
See
Caesar.
Leo.
Yo, Josh, what's for dinner though?
Oh, Texas Roadhouse. She had a gift card.
Hey, roll out. Hey, them. Hey,
Oh, they food good.
that cinnamon butter be
Caesar
slapping.
looks
Yeah,
big, yo.
she had a gift card. She was like, "You want me to use it tonight?" I said, "I don't care." She was like, "All right." So she ordered it.
See
Not too
Leo.
like it was me, E, and Davon. She was ordering it, so I was like, "All right, I'll go pick it up because I'm not paying for them niggas to deliver it."
Yeah, that
That's
delivery
good.
cost be like $10.
Then
Keep
they
that in my
still want a
pocket.
tip.
Hey, bro, you gonna tip me? You already got the tip of $10 to bring it to Pimp Juice. My pockets is light. They can't get no lighter.
My first point for chapter 1
There we
is
go.
same mess, different errors. You know, I find it
Oh,
amazing how that we are fighting the same fights over and over again. We are challenged with responding and or adjusting our stance and or fight in order to receive a greater outcome. We see that in verse 5 through 6, how Adonijah decides he's going to exalt himself and become king. Now, although this seems simple, it is equally a familiar problem we're facing today. No one wants to go through the process. They want the oil, but don't want to go through the beating, squeezing, and pressing in order to bring the oil to production. So what we try to do is get out of position in tune with God and try to make things happen on our own. However, it's not for us to choose, and we can get out there and grasp it, but never sustain it because it wasn't time yet. Everything must go through the master and creator. See, if it was meant for Adonijah to be king, then it would have come to him, but instead he tried to take it. Now I further get an understanding of the fathers being able to redeem the words of their children and how silence is still an answer. He made up in his mind that he wanted to be king and proceeded to try and force it. And it says his father stopped him not. Even at older ages, our fathers are still impactful and needed. Adonijah made a foolish decision and actually thought it would be okay. Then if you want to know if you're doing something foolish, look at the manner in which you go about it. Adonijah waited until David was old, and not just old, but at his end, and decided, I'll just take what I desire. If you got to go about it in a manner outside of upfront, then there may be an issue with what you're doing. We today want things and are willing to do anything for it. I want money, so I'll rear up a church and speak the word and get paid doing it. All the while, God's looking, saying, who told you that you were called to pastor? We want fame, and so we try to step on someone else to draw attention to us. And all the while, God says, who told you that you would be in that spotlight? We don't want to be what we were created as, and we say, I'll make myself that. And all the while, God's looking, saying, who told you that you were this? It's the same mess that they were challenged with back then, just in different eras. My second point is unnecessary plot or scheme. You know, I couldn't understand why the whole scheme from Nathan advising Bathsheba on what to say and do and how he would come in after she starts talking to confirm something. Now, on the one hand, it would seem that he's just looking out. But the fact that he plotted this made me think something's got to be off. So I look into David and Nathan and this relationship to see if I could be just overthinking it. So as Chris said, back in 2 Samuel 7, I read how God tells Nathan how he will raise up David's offspring who will come from his body and how he will establish his kingdom. So Nathan already knows way back here that God's plan for David is for his son to take his place after him, which further made me wonder, why plot and scheme? You could have went to David yourself, being him and David's relationship. Then you understand Nathan is a prophet, and David, being a man after God's own heart, would surely understand being their relationship. So I look and see and say, maybe the problem was Adonijah was taking that which belonged to David. Then I realized that Adonijah is David's fourth son. So I get to thinking, why did Nathan plot and scheme anyway? God told him David's offspring would take over, and it's not Adonijah and offspring. However, verse 10 says how Adonijah did not invite Nathan, and the very next verse goes into Nathan plotting and scheming with Bathsheba. Now, I can't say with fact that that his plotting had anything to do with the lack of invite, but does seem like the choosing of verses 10 and 11 align. In either way, there is no need to plot and scheme when you have already been informed of something. Even if it was with good intention, there's still no need to go about it in this manner. As the prophet, instead of advising Bathsheba to speak, and you go in after, you could have made Bathsheba aware and went to David yourself. Don't let lacks of invitations move you either. Maybe you're not invited because you're not supposed to be there. Maybe you're left out so that you could get aware of it and correct it. You can have good intentions and something still be wrong. We have to be mindful of all we do, leaving no room for the enemy to creep in. And my last point is character is key. Adonijah, after finding out that Solomon is king, became worried that Solomon would kill him. So it was told to Solomon that he fears, and Solomon's response was, if he is a son of noble character, then not a hair on his head will be harmed. But if he is evil, he will die. Now this spoke volumes because it's about the same our brother would say to us. To me, it's the same that Jesus is speaking to all of us daily. Is your heart and soul after me? And it's evident in your character. Character is the mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. Your mindset and actions will prove what your heart and soul desires and longs for. See, what I love about it is the fact that it doesn't say if he is perfect, then I won't harm him. Because none is perfect, and we all have flaws, so we can't be counted and or determined by that. If this was the case, Adonijah would have been killed on the spot, and so would all of us. You don't got to be perfect in order to walk with the king. If we were perfect, then there would be no need for the punishment Christ suffered. It's not our perfection that enabled Bob, but it was a desire for growth and a longing to draw closer in his presence. If we live with the character of his child, then our destination leads to not a hair on our head harmed. Even in our shortcomings, we get up and move forward. Let there be found no wickedness, lest we suffer. And that's my one.
I like it. I
That,
definitely
like
like it.
that.
I'll go ahead and go first with chapter 2 and get mine over with.
Oh man,
Wow.
man, oh man, that's crazy.
Niggas out of
Oh, don't
pocket.
worry about it. I'm gonna
Oh,
get
you
in
can
and out
put it in
like
the
a robbery.
freezer.
I'm gonna get in and out like a robbery. You ready?
Thank you.
It's gonna be real quick. I'm done.
I knew he was going
Wait,
there.
hold
Dog.
on. 20
Dog.
second
Yo.
time out, man.
Yo.
Dog.
You ain't got no
Okay.
questions,
Dude,
no
time
nothing.
out. Dude, did I not call you about this earlier?
Yeah, I
All
thought
right,
you was
so
gonna put.
I
Yeah, you
like,
gotta
when I
give what
say
you had.
okay, so mine's is let me go to it. So the one that I
Just take your
started,
time.
yo,
You might
Nah,
want to
he's
pull
what,
over.
what,
Nah, for
what's
real,
the
for he's
problem?
shortchanging y'all, man.
I just wanted to
What's
pull over. That's all.
I'm
He
over.
said
Like
pull over.
I'm over.
You want
So
to
my
You a
joint
cop now?
is
You 5-0 now?
If that's all he lets you get, then that's what you gotta give.
Yo, dude,
all right.
BLM, man.
So my note is the back door, verses 13 through 19.
All right, we good. You right. You didn't even have anything. You really didn't. You really didn't. And I'm not gonna
Yo,
hold you with that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody dabbled in that one, though. Go ahead and see what you got,
Except for
man.
so
you.
I put the back door verses 13 through 19. So when I read it, I was like, all right, who is this Abishag chick? Who is Abishag the Shunammite, and why is she so important?
Okay.
So and looking it up,
Yeah, you can't stop. Never mind. Never mind.
I was like, who is she and why is she important? So I looked up who she was. I found out that she was a concubine of David's, as well as the importance of her. So if he was to end up as the son, if he would have ended up marrying her, then he would have been, quote unquote, the right to the heir because I'm now with her. As far as she was with my father, they never actually had any relation. So I felt like, okay, so now I see why 13 through 19 is also noted Adonijah's persistence. He was persistent in a way of still trying to get to the throne, And so he was trying to find the back door and a loophole of how he can still get to the throne and be the king. And that's my point.
So wait. Back up.
I like it.
How
Shut up, Chris. My dope.
Wait. I need to understand. How do you have that and then you come saying you don't have nothing?
Because I felt like I literally had nowhere to go. I felt like I literally just went in a giant circle of saying everything, and I didn't really get of how to present it. So I was just like, yo, dude, I called James earlier. I was like, yo, I have nothing.
He felt like because he didn't break it down, he felt like it was nothing. But that's why I told him you got to give what you got, yo. You can't just.
I have a different question.
You got it.
I have a different question. Why?
Nah, you could go. Come on, man. What's your question, yo? Nah, what's your question? Don't be like that.
So my question is, I guess, why didn't you break it down? But I feel like it's broken.
But the same thing I told James when I started going into it, I swear after I looked up who she was and what he's trying to do, it's literally like but it's literally but I feel like I didn't do a good enough job. I literally felt like I smacked into a brick wall and I was like, yo, I'm done.
That's that men syndrome.
Like, yo.
Nah, man, I don't give up, baby.
Yeah,
if there's a wall, I got to keep running till it comes down, baby. Listen,
when I tell you,
once I hit that
wall, when I hit that wall,
what for then?
Like, yo, let me tell you how bad it is. I literally so I read it. Yes, I read it Monday night. Almost all Tuesday while I was at work, I was thinking like, yo, how can I break this further down and put it better together? And I got nothing. I was still at the wall. So I was like, yo, you know what? I'm LIG in it. It is what it is.
But you still had something. So anytime that happened to you, dude, you got to write that down and give it because that's still something.
I got you.
Yo, Caesar
Leo.
Huge.
You hear him, right? You smell him? Don't even go off. It ain't even worth it. Don't go off.
That nigga looks huge, yo.
Don't even go off. It ain't even worth it, girl. Just chill out. No? Okay, well then cool. Shoot.
I thought Davon was D-Bone. I thought
both of y'all, but neither one of y'all was. So
well, you was talking to your dog. I was waiting till you got done. You was talking to your dog. I was waiting till you get done.
All right, you ready? I got you. All right, so two little points. Nothing big. The first one I put passing on roles. I put with the leadership role is passed on from one person to the next. There are still rules to be followed. I should have dived more into it. I just didn't. But that's what I have.
Y'all got a lot of, but I should have. It did, y'all.
But let me tell you why. Both of them are so on point, yo. They just didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
You say good job, yo.
Like, had you dove into that, baby D, you'd have took our point away. Like, guaranteed.
You're not touching my point. I'm good.
Yeah, you're right. He's not. He said he didn't dive any further.
All right, man. What's your other one, man? What's your other one?
And then verses 13 through 18. Sending someone to ask a question because you are scared. When I read this verse, when I read these verses, I couldn't help but think of that one friend that'd be too scared to go talk to the females when you go out.
Hey, not me, Bucko. Not me. Hey, that
me. Plays so much, yo. Hey, can you mute him for me?
Oh, my bad.
Like, I was almost done with my point. Now I got to start over. He plays extremely too much.
Hey, that's good. You can dive in a little bit more while you're starting over.
Man, sound like Kevin Hart.
I'm not gonna let him do that.
Every time you interrupt me, I gotta start over.
Got to start over. But no, I said when I read these verses, I couldn't help but think of the one friend who's too scared to talk to the females when you go out. So he sends the friend over there to talk to the girl for him. To me, I don't understand. But my study Bible says Solomon took the request as a threat. I
love that idea.
And I wanted to know if anybody knew why.
Hey,
James
say that one more time. Say that one more time.
Can you say that last part? I just want the last part.
Hey, my guy.
I
He
wanted
did
to
take
ask
it as a
all-
threat. He took it as a
My
threat.
study Bible says Solomon took this request as a threat.
Oh,
And then I have why with a question mark.
that's in my notes. That's in my
That's
Yo,
in
notes.
my
if
notes.
you,
I got
Yosh,
it.
if
My
you,
notes.
So my first
see that,
point.
Yosh?
In my notes.
My first. I
man,
got it.
oh
Do you want us all to
man,
answer? You want everybody
No.
to take a turn?
Well,
No. How you gonna answer for that,
oh
my
man?
bad.
man.
I said
If
my
you,
bad. I said my
cause
bad.
yo,
My bad.
if
Let me
you,
do what I'm doing. I'm focused.
he took, he did, he definitely did. That's why the verses following that is what it read.
I kind of want to go last. 'Cause I want to hear what James.
I guess you're going into your notes, Hop.
Oh, you gonna let me go, baby? I was gonna let you go, dog.
Chris
No,
said
man,
you
go
can
ahead,
go.
man. Go ahead. Because I feel like y'all gonna stomp, so I just want to see how far you gonna stomp, and then I can go.
Come on, let us.
Nah,
Yeah,
That's
between
what I
between no,
said, yo.
Real
between
nice.
those two,
Hey,
between those
Hop, you
two, I'm
being
not very
nice too,
sure.
man. You let me go, man.
So
Listen.
I listen. He asked
Because
the question. You have it in your notes. I don't have it in my notes. I didn't go that
the
route.
re-
So
Okay. I
see,
see why
that's
you.
why.
that's why I
That's part
said
of the
you
reason
gonna
why I
go
want to
into my
wait.
notes. I'm
That's
good.
part of the reason why I want to wait because I feel like everybody got something around, but I feel like it's gonna be a different dive each one, so I just kind of want to wait. Go ahead, James.
Being
All
nice.
right.
Nice.
Hey, listen, I appreciate it, though.
Wait, how many points you got first? How many you got?
I
That was a
I
dumb
only got
point.
3. I got 3,
Okay,
baby.
all right.
You know it ain't one.
He said, "Hold on,
Hey,
how
he
many points
taking
you got?
shots at y'all. Hey, he
How
taking
many
shots
points?"
at y'all, man.
Now, he
That's a
wasn't taking a
shot.
shot at me. He
That's a
telling
wrong
you I
Sometimes
didn't.
it's like
question.
that.
Yeah, you know I got more than one.
I got no fucking point.
So
All
my
right.
first point for chapter 2 is outline for life. Seems simple and cliched, but David gives the outline off back. He tells Solomon to walk in the ways of Yahweh and to keep what he commands and instructs, so that he may prosper in all that he does and everywhere he turns. Now we know that in this life there will be tribulation and attacks, but we have been given the outline yet and still. If we would simply do what the word instructs, then we would literally change everything about our lives. Not that challenges won't come, but their effect and outcome changes completely. Here's the thing though. In order to do what the word says, we got to know and or learn the word. It's not enough to simply go off what you heard or been taught from kids, but we got to learn it for ourselves and experience his work and movement in our own lives. Also, we got to walk in his ways, which again means we got to know the word. Yet along with knowing, there's got to be some action if we're walking in his ways. We have been instructed on how to live and walk and how to forgive and turn the cheek. We have got to walk in ways that exemplify that which we've been instructed. Our ability to do these things states that we would prosper in everything we do. Now, is God saying that whatever we decide to do, regardless of what it is, will prosper? Of course not. What happens is our desire to do is shifted since we're walking in his ways, doing what he says, and therefore everything we do shall prosper. Every time we turn, we see God at work, moving and blessing us. We can live in a state of blessing if we're continually walking and listening to do what he instructs. My second point is unresolved. It's amazing reading verse 13 and seeing that there must be an issue that hasn't been or won't be resolved. See, Adonijah, as said before, is David's son and was taken the throne. And then as said, the plot to get Solomon there. So the elder son is not completely cool with his position. See, it says that he went before Bathsheba, and when she seen him, the first thing she said is, "Are you coming in peace?" See, we get the understanding that something is still unresolved, and so there's the wonder, the question that are you here in peace or trying to cause a problem? We've got to learn to let things rest that should have been resolved. Many times we hold on to grudges and past pain and things that may have been done to or toward us, and instead of addressing it or moving on, we remain in a state of anger, frustration, and vengeance, and so we never find the peace we ought to have. I understand for Adonijah and the feeling that you went and took what's mine, but why not move forward? For the blessing released to David is not just that Solomon would be blessed, but that David's sons, all of them, would be blessed and none cut off. It's not easy, but at least you're blessed and counted a part. And it's important to learn to resolve issues and continue to march forward rather than being stuck within one situation, disabled from progress. And my last point is the wisdom of Solomon. David was a man after God's own heart and a warrior indeed, great in battle. Well, we see here that Solomon's ability is that he is intelligent, wise beyond his years. His elder brother goes to his stepmother and says to her, to tell my baby brother, give me dad's helper. Bathsheba thinks nothing odd of it, and at the time, she says, very well, I'll speak with him. Seems easy enough. Maybe she was just fine and Adonijah had to have her. Okay. Yet when she tells her son, his response is not all the same. Solomon understood that although the reply seemed basic, his wisdom interpreted this is an attack and plan against the throne. Solomon replied, why not ask for him the kingdom as well? He felt slighted and still continues to search for a way to get the kingdom. See, we as believers work according to the Lord, and in your doing so, his favor and grace moves and causes us to be elevated where others feel they deserve. Wisdom should let us know when there is a plot or scheme trying to be drawn against us. Not every simple request is made that simple. Some have meanings behind the request, and without the wisdom of God, you could end up giving away what he designed for you. Solomon, without wisdom, could have approved the request, and things could have ended up playing out a lot different. Adonijah could have ended up with the woman and therefore trying to lay claim to the throne, being that he is with David's concubine. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask. God, who gives unto all men liberally, will surely grant. And that's my chapter 2.
All right.
I digs.
All right. So my first point for Kings chapter 2 is a father's charge. What I love about the beginning of chapter 2 is David's charge to Solomon. It reminds me of the many charges my father gave me growing up. It's a reminder for us. It's a reminder for how important it is for us to heed the advice our parents give us, for it's essential. First, David gives a command. Keep the decrees, commands, regulations, and laws written in the law of Moses. Then he gives a promise based on the obedience of doing these aforementioned things so that you will be successful in all that you do and wherever you go. If you do this, God will keep the promise he made in me. This is what he told me. If you, descendants, live as they should and follow me faithfully with all their heart and soul, one of them will always sit on the throne. Wow, what a powerful charge. One of the immense responsibility, but just as equal a promise. He ends the conversation. He grants Solomon with empowerment, one that I feel all children desire from their fathers. What a blessing it is to have an earthly father to instill wisdom. Next point is wages of sin is death. We see here starting in verse 13, the beginning of deceit, posed as an innocent request resulting in death. It's sort of amazing to me because we have seen individuals operate in the Old Testament as if they did not know their actions would result in death. Even though it's not explicitly mentioned, it is inferred through Adonai's actions that he is unaware, in my opinion, because he had to know that there would be consequences with his request. I feel like this is self-evident early on in this chapter for two reasons. One, he went to Bathsheba, David's mother, knowing that she would listen to him, even having stated it in verse 17, saying, for I know he, King David, would do anything, King Solomon would do anything for you. So it's clear that he is aware that his request is not without an ulterior motive. The other reason is that he flat out lied in verse 13 because Bathsheba asked him verbatim, have you come with peaceful intentions? And it's obvious later on that he was not come with peaceful intentions. King Solomon, knowing that his brother Absalom had did the same thing to His father, King David, knew exactly what Adonijah was up to. Abishag was part of King David's harem, or concubines, and he knew that marrying her would give him claim to the throne. We found out that Adonijah obviously did not learn his lesson, not learn a lesson from the last chapter, and that the grace and mercy God extended him in chapter 1 was taken for granted, and his result was that he was put to death. And my last point is things fall into place. One of the cool things I love about God is how he allows plans to fall into place. And it's up to us to recognize the opportunity and to be led by the Spirit. During his last conversation with King David, we see Solomon is given 2 outstanding deaths that are left to Solomon's discretion or wisdom for Joab and Shimei. It is funny because it does not show that Solomon had a the Bible does not state that Solomon had a predetermined plan for Joab as he did for Shimei. Maybe because King David did not want him to live long. Oh, maybe because knowing that his father, King David, did not want him to live long, so he's being mindful of how to do it compared to Shimei, where it was more discretionary for Solomon. In either case, their own doings gave Solomon an opportunity to cast their death as commanded by his father. Adonijah's continued deceit gave way for Joab's death, and Shimei's slaves ended up being his demise. God has a way of providing things that are meant for us to fall into place at its appointed time. We can be rest assured knowing God has us. It's up to us to have discernment and courage to act when the moment arrives. And that's my chapter 2.
Well, actually,
Yo.
all of you. You said earlier that Adonijah said, "Say this to my baby brother," or did
No,
I miss?
I was paraphrasing in my own words because
Okay.
Adonijah's the older, Solomon's the baby.
Yeah.
All right. My first point is verses 2 through 4. Train up a child. So I said, I often wonder, what should I be teaching my son? What is the important lesson for him to hear of and learn from in this moment? I have even wondered in myself, am I doing a good job? My concern is not, am I doing right by him or making sure that he is taken care of and healthy, but more so, am I preparing him for serving Christ and even preparing him to be a man, a black man in this current world? The world tells us we are to train up a child in the way that he should go or they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. Here, King David tells his son Solomon, be strong and be a man. To me, he is reminding him that tough times will come around, so be sure to be strong. People will oppose you, so be a man and stand your guard. And then he talks to him about his godly reminders. First, he tells him about his natural nature and the way he should conduct himself, and then he saves the best for last. He reminds him of his walk with Christ and the responsibilities that come along with it. Keep his statutes, commands, ordinances, and decrees. In other words, be obedient to what God says and has said. There are established rules that you are to follow and directions in the future that you are also to heed to. He informs him that by doing these things, Solomon will be blessed. In addition, the promise that was made to David will remain. So there are things that my father could have done correctly that if I didn't or don't uphold could affect the promise that was made to him. In other words, my disobedience could affect my son. Generational curses and blessings don't always begin centuries ago. We must train up our children for the natural and, more importantly, for the supernatural. My next point is in verse 6. It's a question. So he reads, act according to your wisdom and do not let his gray head descend to Sheol in peace. So I said, I do not see or understand how one could go to Sheol or hell in peace. What are your thoughts?
Wait, what?
The part where he tells him don't let him go to hell in peace. He said don't let his gray hair go to Sheol in peace.
My thought was, how in the world could that be possible? How do you go to hell in peace? Yeah, verse 6.
Yeah, but if the man I feel like if he's living that way, he probably don't.
How
It's
do you go
something
to
that I've.
how do you go
It's
to
something.
hold on, Yosh. I don't think he's hearing me. How do you go to hell in peace? Peace.
Oh, I feel like you're looking at it the wrong way.
Give me your insight, because I don't understand what you're saying.
Because like I feel,
When we come back
I
to
feel
you,
like no, I feel like you're
stand by
taking what he's
caller.
no, because
You
I
want to
feel like
stand
you're
by
taking
caller?
no, I feel like you're taking what King David is telling him literally
How did you take it?
like he what's my man's name?
No.
Jesus.
Joab he
My
Joab
bad.
it's
Nigga
obvious that
stupid.
Joab is living a life of just whatever. So like his peace is how he's gonna die. Like I don't know how to explain. Like it's his.
Stand by caller. Stand by caller. Go ahead,
I don't know
Yosh.
how to explain it, yo.
That's
I
why I
don't.
said stand by caller.
I don't
So
know.
it's something that I heard while I was with Eddie by this guy named Damon Thompson. And that Sheol isn't actually hell. Sheol is basically like a holding place for like when people pass, where basically they sit. It's almost like a holding cell. Of course, when people die, nobody just goes straight up to heaven. Hey, yo, let me in the pearly gates, and then nobody just goes straight to hell. There's a judgment to happen.
Now he want to act like he a coach.
So I've heard that it's like basically like a holding cell. So when I read it, I was like, all right, don't let me die and go to this holding cell. Like let me pass and go there in peace. Don't let me go there uneasy or being upset or with knowing that stuff isn't right here. So that's how, for me, that's how I took it. Just from
It
hearing
said don't let
Damon.
him go there in peace. Like if I'm
Yeah,
going there, I mean, I don't know, but
that's like, you know how some
I
people they
wouldn't
die
think
and
I'm
be
in
like,
peace.
but you know how
So
some people die and it's like, yo, I died. I could pass now. Like make him like almost like,
Suffer.
yeah, like you go when you die and you go down to Sheol. There's still stuff like
so
still stuff that you want to do, still stuff that you feel like should have happened, stuff that you're trying to accomplish, whatever.
so
Yeah, dude.
for me, what I was gonna say is along the lines with Josh said, like as far as the suffering. But for me, the way I took it when I read it is what he's saying is, don't let that man. If you go into hell, there's no peace anyway. But don't let him just die of natural causes or old age. The suffering is the way I took it. Make sure on his way to hell, you send him there with some bruises. Basically, that's just how I took it.
So
Put the pause on him.
Pick up caller.
so
Pick up
so
caller.
two things. One,
First he
I
ain't
didn't
got two. Now he got
I
two.
didn't realize. That's why I asked you to repeat it because I didn't realize. So my Bible says grave in peace, so that's why I was confused. But then it has an asterisk and it mentions Sheol in peace. But I disagree with what James has said. That was what I was trying to say. Like, there's no peace in hell, but like for him, natural causes or not to suffer. I just whatever James said.
All right. Anything, Scrub?
No, only thing I heard
Sleepy?
when Yosh was speaking, the only thing I heard was Yosh said that the trio or whatever is a holding spot. So for me, don't let him go there in peace. Don't let him go there thinking he's going to heaven.
All right.
Don't let him die in peace. Like, okay, I'm dying. I know where I'm going. That's the only thing I heard.
Copy. My next point is verses 13 through 17. So I said backdoor request. Did Adonijah just believe that Solomon would not talk to him because of their history? Did Adonijah believe or know that Solomon would deny his request for pretty young Abishag? Or did it have to do with the fact that Adonijah placed himself in the seat that Solomon actually holds? Like, I couldn't imagine sitting in my supervisor's seat and him finding out about it. So a couple of months ago, I had a conversation with some students about sitting at the head of a dinner table. Today, that means little, but the head of the table was silently reserved for the man of the house. No other person in the house occupied that seat. Now, it's the head of the table. My bad. Now, it's not the head of the table, but a certain chair or spot on the couch that is silently reserved for the man of the house. So Adonijah chose to sit in a seat that was not his, but that belonged to his brother, his younger brother. Brothers of different mothers, same father, but brothers nonetheless. Adonijah proclaims to Bathsheba, everyone knew the kingship was supposed to be his, yet the Lord gave it to him. At first, I read this as Lord, lowercase l, referring to King David, but it reads Lord, capital L, which refers to God. This is a testament. This is a testament that God doesn't always side with the many, for his ways and thoughts are not like ours. My next point is verses 18 through 25. So I said, confused about man's word. Bathsheba did as she said she would, and passed the request on to Solomon. King Solomon said in verse 20, go ahead and ask, for I won't turn you down. Yet he does not grant her wish, and instead he has someone to kill Adonijah. Still, we have brothers killing each other. I wonder how Bathsheba felt and or thought about Solomon giving her his word and not carrying out the request. Was it okay because he was the king, or her son, so no harm, or did she feel or did she feel a way because she was told one thing and another was done? Also, did David, while still king, forget about his promise to Solomon and Bathsheba? Why didn't he tell Adonijah to chill on his acts of kingship? So that's another point.
That is what I just looked at, yo.
In chapter 1, and I didn't do enough studying in chapter 1, but
I missed it.
after chapter 2, I did more, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. In chapter 1, it says Adonijah went around King David, his father
didn't tell him no.
His father didn't tell him a word. He never stopped him in his acts. If you knew, you told one son, hey, this is going to be yours. But then another son comes around and says, this is mine. Why not stop him and say, hey, young soldier, I feel you, but I already promised this to your brother. Chill out.
I thought I noticed that because it mentioned it in my Bible. I don't have kids, so I figured you guys were gonna dabble in it first. You know, probably Davon, even get in there a little bit. So
you don't have cows and cattle, but you can break the word down.
I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I was gonna give that to y'all.
I was gonna give that to y'all.
I was gonna
it's
let
the
y'all
same
dabble.
thing James said, yo. I completely missed and overlooked it.
I caught it after I read my chapter 1.
Me too.
I paused and was like, wait a minute. The father, David is his father. Why didn't this fool? Why he didn't stop this chaos?
He let him run wild, man. He let him do his thing.
Nigga said, "All right, young buck. Oh, so you out here having your fun? I'll amuse you. I'm not going to put a damp on your parade. I'll let you go ahead."
Really?
Hey, Solomon,
I don't even have
come
a
here, boy.
answer for that, Hop. Because for me,
you had to have known.
You had to know Solomon was going to kill your older son when he did it.
So
you had to have some idea.
I think
Yeah,
it,
because
I
the way
think the
he
fact.
told Solomon, yo, if this goes like this, or if somebody showed it, if somebody showed their hand, get rid of them. Don't be stupid. Don't let them hang around. Be
Okay, so
wise.
then I can't
Somebody
say
That's
show
what
their
I was
more
hand.
gonna
why
say.
you. That's
I
more
think
why
the
you
fact
tell them
that
no.
I think the fact that the fact that Adonai was rebellious all the way up to when we first hear of him trying to take the throne. I think it was already David was already not disciplining him, so he wasn't about to tell him more stuff if he didn't even acknowledge the fact that he was trying to take over the throne. So it was more of just a a, a presentation of just the lack of discipline that David did as a whole. So
Hey,
that's
So
hey,
he
how I
was
take
just a bad father. What you saying?
it.
No, I
Basically,
can't. Like there's part of me that wants to take it, but there's a part of me that I
Oh
can't.
no! I can't take that he was a terrible father because then that my note for chapter 3 won't even make
Yeah,
sense.
my note for chapter 3 is not going to be very
No,
much use.
nigga, you're
well,
going last
the
now.
way my
I'll
the
wait
way
for you.
Wow,
I'll wait for you.
wow. So now
I
I
the
got
way
to
my
definitely
go.
got
Bible
on your
described
road, so that's
the
no
way my
stop
Bible
tapping. I'm
described it
good.
was just it was more of I wouldn't say bad father. It was just an area of where
Yes, it's an area. That's where I was gonna
Yeah,
go with
he had a shortcoming, right? So where because if you look at it, okay, I did a good job in terms of David. I mean, in terms of Solomon, because look how I wait, wait, let me finish.
but it's like
Look what I gave
I,
him before I died. Like
I
that was good parenting. But as with Adonai, I failed,
I
and
got a
maybe it's
question for
because
you, Fucko. I got a
maybe it's because
question for
maybe it's
you,
because
Fucko.
one was older, one was younger. Who knows? You know what I
I got a
mean?
question for you. That's
You
all.
go back and
I got a
forth all day,
question.
but it was
I
just
was
a
gonna play
short. It was
devil's.
just a. Go
Make
ahead,
sure
John.
you
I was
answer
gonna
it
play.
first.
I was gonna play devil's advocate with you.
Nigga
Like,
said, make
yo,
sure you answer it first.
I was gonna
Tell
play
him I got a
devil's
question
advocate
for him.
because I was gonna play devil's advocate with you. Like, all right. So the first, so he had in total 5: Solomon, Adonijah, and then the 3
Don't
others.
do that.
Right.
Don't do that. Don't do
That's what I
that.
said.
What's
I
the
was gonna
call was
play.
his? What's the
That's what I
call was
said. I
his
was
My
gonna play.
firstborn?
grandparents had 16. Don't do
Yeah,
that. Don't
but that's what
discredit
I'm
my
Oh,
saying.
go
grandparents.
finish.
I'm not.
What's he
I'm
gonna say?
not.
What's he gonna say?
What I'm saying.
Something
What I was.
totally wrong. You shouldn't do that.
What? Let me
My
see.
people had 16, dude. Come on. Come
That's why I
on.
said I was gonna play. That's
You
why I said I was gonna play devil's advocate. I
your
was.
lineage wouldn't be what it is today.
It really wouldn't.
Let
It
him
really
finish.
wouldn't.
Go ahead. Say what are you gonna say, John?
It really
So
wouldn't. The
my
16
my
would
thought
not be.
at first, my thought was this must have been a old age. I
Mm,
forgot. Right? Hold on. Here's why I wanted to go old age. I forgot. I wanted to go old age. I forgot because if Bathsheba didn't come in when she did,
And
does
it's really
Solomon?
Nathan.
Well, if
mhm.
Nathan doesn't tell Bathsheba and Bathsheba doesn't be responsible enough or follow instructions enough to go to King David when she did, let's say King David passes. Who's king?
Are you
Who's
speaking
king?
in realistic sense or
My
just
bad. So my bad. That's hypothetical. That's hypothetical. And I told him
because
to stay away.
realistically,
Chris
nah, I'm not
can
even being
be.
funny.
I'm
No,
not
I know
being
you're not,
funny.
dude.
I'm being
Yeah,
serious because
because
I
if
told him I'm
God
not
said it
going
was
there.
him, it was gonna happen. That's why I said realistic or
So
Yeah.
that's why I said I wanted to give him old age because to me, you almost forgot you told her he was going to be the king. God told you one of your kids was going to be the king. So Adonijah fits that bill. But
yeah.
you told Bathsheba, specifically Solomon. So if
Yeah.
that's the case, then it can't be Adonijah. But Adonijah was ready to fill that role. So when Adonijah was running amok and running crazy with his kingship task and having everybody call him, hey, hail King Adonijah, and here comes the king, and so forth and so on, and you witnessed it, why didn't you stop him, dude? You had to know your son was going to be killed by his brother.
So there's a couple, but there's a couple of schools. There's a couple of schools of thoughts though, because you have one, you can present the argument of, because it was never mentioned that specifically that David told Solomon that he told everybody. Are we assuming that he never said anything? So
I'm looking it up. I looked it up.
But that's my point. The father never said it.
Where it said
that he never said nothing?
Yeah.
Oh, no. You're talking about two different things. Hop is saying he didn't say anything to Adonijah.
Yeah.
That we read in chapter 1.
How do we know that though?
Because that's what chapter 1 says. It says it, that his father never said nothing to him.
Yeah.
Where it said that at?
That's why in my chapter 1.
Hold on. Yeah, it's in chapter 1. It's verse 5.
Adonijah, son of Haggith, kept exalting himself, saying, I will be king. He prepared chariots, cavalry, and no. My bad. Verse 6.
His father did not rebuke him at any time by saying, why did you do so? Now, he was also very handsome of appearance. She had born him after Absalom.
Just the beginning of 6.
Yeah, it's literally 6.
But I took that more as him not disciplining him, not necessarily telling him, hey, what's it called, going to be king, but more so not telling him, hey, slow your roll. And the reason why I say that is because he could have told Adonai, hey, Solomon's going to be king, and because he knew that he was about to die in his old age, he was going to just do it anyway. That's how I took it.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Because because the Bible never mentions whether or not he actually did tell somebody. We're assuming that he didn't, but it could just be Adonai just trying to do it because he's just being outright disobedient.
Okay, I hear you.
Oh, so that's a scenario, and then there's another question. What was the first question you had asked towards the end, dude? I was gonna touch on the one right before.
I just said, why didn't he tell Adonijah to chill on his acts of kingship? I was talking about why. So I was talking about
the first one. I think we already touched on
Solomon
as far as him going down to Sheol.
Well, that was that, but I was talking about Solomon and himself. He told his mom, "Go ahead."
Oh, I'll go ahead. I'm not going to refuse you.
I'm not going to refuse you. And he didn't necessarily refuse her, but he didn't grant her wish either. And so my thing was, how do you think Bathsheba felt about that?
Here's how I interpreted that. I interpreted that as you asking your parents, "Hey, I got bad news. Promise you won't get mad." I'm gonna say I'm not gonna get mad, but let it be something crazy. Yeah, I'm about to slap tires. That's how I took that. I won't refuse you, really, but let it be something crazy, and you bet I'm gonna refuse you.
Okay,
so that's how bad it is.
You can't talk on the one that I don't have any kids, so I can't touch on it. But that one, you can touch all over, huh?
He jumped directly on that, didn't he?
You was that
kid. The only thing you jumped on it,
dive right in.
That man threw it in reverse and said, "Wait a minute, you said something earlier. I want to touch it."
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah,
it's sizzling in my spirit. I got to get this out.
I know that one oh too well. Mom, don't be mad. I got some
don't get mad.
For you.
I'm not gonna be mad. You did what?
I never believed in the I won't be mad anyway. I don't trust you. You got to figure this one out on your own.
That nigga Chris dived straight in, no toe dip to see if the water cold or warm. That nigga said, "Up head first."
That's how I took it.
So
No.
I'm
A part of
looking
me
at
feel like for Bathsheba, it's like, yo, when he came to you and was like, yo, this is my request, and he presented the request to you. I kind of feel like when she was like, when he finished asking, and she was like, okay, I asked your brother. You know that smirk you give somebody when you know what's really up? Like,
I
I
got
asked your
you.
brother. Yeah, like, I asked your brother. Like, I feel like
See,
that's how she gave it to him. Like, you want me to ask your brother, can you have who? But
I
she's your fault.
personally go
I
ahead, dude.
got you. No, that's how I felt like. That's how I took it. Like, I got you.
Go ahead,
I just feel like like I said in my note, I feel like it didn't register in her mind what he was trying to do. That's just how I felt.
Yeah,
Like
I
she
agree.
didn't piece it together. She felt like, oh, you just want him. It's not like he slept with her. You just want the woman.
Yeah.
That's
It
just
is
how I
weird that
felt.
she wouldn't get that, but
Yeah, because she asked, "Is this peace or not?" He said, "Peace."
Word.
He said, "Hey, man, just tell him I was supposed to have a throne, so at least let me get daddy, or shorty he didn't even sleep with." And she
Let
was
me,
like,
let, me,
"All right,
let me get the cutie
why
pie. You
not?
know what I mean?
I'll
Let
tell
me
him."
get the cutie pie.
So that's why I took it. Not that that's fact.
So then I'll play the other role. What if she had the smirk on her face and say, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and let him know, so he come back and do away with you because I'm tired of you anyway.
Well, if you play that role, then she was never mad. She knew what was coming.
She
she
knew it
knew
was
what
coming.
time it was.
Hey,
That's a good one.
son,
That's a good
let
thought,
me go
though.
ahead and get this throne. You gonna build me a throne to sit right next to you? I'm gonna sit on the right. All right, cool. So your brother want Abishag. So you want me to get? I might as well get this nigga the kingdom. I might as well give him. You
Yo,
know what? Everybody gotta die.
dang it!
You
I
go
should have
ahead.
wrote about
You're
it,
dead.
yo.
You go ahead. If you move, you move. So help me God. You dead.
I
You
should
get
have
the
wrote
freak out of
about
here.
it, dog,
Hey, and bring him here.
because
Hey, yo,
That's a
Solomon,
good
he
point,
said
though.
he wanted to die right there in the tent. Well, freak,
it
grant that
made
nigga his wish. Kill him in the temple. I was like, dang, he ain't
it
waste
made
no time.
it made sense as far as for me. And I thought somebody was gonna write about it, so I didn't even bother digging into it, right? But the fact that he put his mom's on such a high rank, and even though he became the king, he was still willing to serve
Yeah.
his mom. And it
When
made me
he,
go all the way to the New Testament when Mary was like, they ran out
Oh,
of wine, and
yeah,
Jesus was like, "Hey, this
yeah,
before my
yeah.
time, man. What you talking?" And she went and told him, "Hey, whatever he tell you, just do that." Like it
She
was
knew
like,
what time it
yo,
was.
that's crazy.
Jesus ain't got time for your foolishness. Hey, y'all, whatever he tell y'all to do, go do. Jesus, you gonna do what I said now. I'm going back to the party. But yeah,
Okay. My
that
last
joint was
point.
crazy.
My last point was just something I thought was interesting. Uh, Benaniah, or whatever his name is, Benaiah. He was the first.
Yeah.
He was the first hitman. I mean, I give him
That's
credit.
the first hit, man.
He was the first hitman.
Factual. Yo,
He
you ain't
said,
see
"Yo,
what
I need him
Solomon had him
gone."
do?
Okay. Bang, 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 bang. See you later. Hey, I need him gone. He's doing too much. Okay.
Yo,
Say less. Bang, 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 bang. See you later.
that nigga walked up on Buddy in the temple, say, yo, Solomon wants you. Nah, tell him I want to die here. Hey, yo, Solomon. He said he
He'll be
want to die in
back.
the temple.
Right?
Grant
He's
that
like, I'll be
nigga his
back.
wish. Fall on him. That nigga went
All
back
of
to
them.
the temple and folded him right in the temple.
That's
Like,
tough
And he
though.
yo.
got a point. And he got appointed to the army. And he got a
And I'm the,
promotion.
I'm the
He's a
commander now.
hitman. He's a hitman. He first hitman. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So hey, that's tough. Fall on him. That's the new one. Fall on him, right? Hey.
That
Anyway,
joint
that's my two, fellas. That's my two.
I dig it. It's quiet. I'll go ahead and go on 3.
I mean, hey, I was about to. You know what I mean?
No,
All
you
right,
wasn't.
so
I can tell you that
I
right now.
got, well, yeah, it's 2020. Whoever go last can go first. So my first note, well, my only note for 3, really, because, yeah. So my note for 3, I put 1 in a million, and I put verse 12. I put first in the previous verses, it said that Solomon loved Yahweh, which I thought that alone held a ton of value. That it was even to be written in the Bible or to even be mentioned. Also, I can't really remember. Y'all would basically have to check me on this one. But I do believe that it's normally that Yahweh loves so-and-so, or Yahweh put his favor on them, or Yahweh blessed them. It's never really mentioned of and so-and-so loved Yahweh, or so-and-so whatever to Yahweh. If as far as I recall, it was always Yahweh towards someone, towards this individual, never this individual towards Yahweh. And so, love, and that he loved Yahweh so much, and normally believe that it is normally Yahweh loves so and so. However, it also states that Solomon is the first to be like him. So Solomon is the first to be this way, and that there will never be another like him. To me, this is dope. That Solomon's love for Yahweh and his selflessness, that he just wanted the wisdom and the heart to do right by his people, to be a great king and to be able to discern good and evil, that he wished for nothing selfish and that alone is absolutely astounding. Even to the point that Yahweh said, you know what, even though you didn't ask for this, take this riches, take this honor, and that there will be no king during your years that will ever be able to be like you. To me, it makes me wonder just what in the world did David teach his kids? How he explained the goodness of Yahweh, what it like the relationship, how good Yahweh is. What is it that he taught them? How did he explain it to them? To the point where Solomon turned out this way among the other four. And that's my 3.
I dig it.
Yo. Boy.
Quiet. That's what I like to hear.
Okay.
So, my bad, Chris. You was gonna go.
Oh, no.
All right, good. I wasn't gonna let you go anyways.
Oh,
So
wow.
my
so
3.
rude. So rude.
Why I gotta be rude?
That was rude, but go ahead.
Why I gotta be rude? See, y'all play too much, yo. Y'all play too much. So my first note is verses 5 through 15. I put selflessness and not selfishness. While reading this part, it reminded me of Tuesday mornings. Yes, we all put requests in, but I realized when we pray, we put everybody else's requests before ours. And to take it a step further, you said what, Chris?
He's taking stabs at other people, not you.
You just realized.
I was thinking out loud. My bad.
You said what, Chris?
He said not hop.
Wait. I didn't mean to say that.
Who I pray for?
Baby
Chris
B
doesn't
said,
get on the phone on Tuesday mornings. He don't know who you pray
He
for.
wouldn't know. There we go. That makes perfect sense to
That's
me.
crazy. We throwing jabs. That's crazy. Y'all
how
don't know
you
what
gonna throw a punch
I
and
could have been
call it
lost,
crazy?
kidnapped. Y'all ain't know what. Nobody wanted to ask me what I was doing. I could have been lost,
I don't want to
kidnapped.
know what
Y'all
you're
ain't
doing.
know.
I know what you weren't
This
doing.
nigga said I could have.
Hey,
said
you
I could have been
just
lost.
told us your phone was on Do Not Disturb.
Listen, y'all didn't know what was going on. Nobody asked how I was doing. Y'all just assumed. That's crazy.
Were you all right? Were you all right? Did you make it home safely?
Thank you, Josh. I was okay. Thank you. I was asleep. I ain't gonna lie. Now I can be honest.
Yo, y'all play extremely too much, yo.
Oh shoot!
I don't know how y'all do it. Y'all
Oh
play
man!
too much. And Ezra, you a big man on words. I didn't say I just realized. I just said I realized.
You got it. You copy, baby. Go ahead. I'm waiting for you to go ahead and continue. I'm disregarding that comment that he was talking about, so I'm good.
Anyways, I realized when we pray, we put everyone else's request before our own. And to take it a step further, we pray for the safetyness and sanity of the brothers that aren't on the phone with us. My second point is the test. This is crazy. God has been testing me lately at work for what I prayed for a couple weeks ago and asked him about. And now to see the king ask for wisdom, and he was tested in front of everyone that was at the table. It's just an eye opener. Like I pray for it and look for the answer, and the answer can be in the test that God gives us. And then my example was at work. A couple weeks ago, I prayed for movement and to show me what to do about what was happening because of the kid who made the Kobe reference. The next week at work, I was tested by the female who came over and just started messing stuff up. After that day when I walked away from her and decided to leave it in God's hands and not fight back or go back against her, since that day, I've been moved all the way across the warehouse, and I have no contact with either of them anymore in my permanent positions on the other side of the warehouse. So for me, that was an eye-opener. Like, my test was my answer. I didn't have to search. I didn't have to do anything. My test was, hey, I'm going to test you with this person here. Oh, okay, you left it in my hands and you walked away. Cool. I'm going to move you away from everybody that can give you problems and leave you with the two people who you work the best with. But that was my 3.
That man be moving. Man be moving. There go that man again, mama.
I just got a little belly.
Chris plays so much.
Oh, you heard that? I thought he was far away.
This nigga's stupid, yo.
Chris plays so much, yo.
I'm gonna go ahead and go, man. I'm gonna go ahead and go.
That would be good. That's a good idea.
All right. So my first point was actually just one long point. I put the Book of Proverbs. Man, if this chapter doesn't get you, if this chapter does not get you excited for what God does for us, I don't know what will. In studying Proverbs, they describe knowledge as this: knowledge is good, but there's a vast difference between knowledge, having the facts, and wisdom, or appropriately applying those facts to life. We may amass knowledge, but without wisdom, our knowledge is useless. This is often why we see individuals with a wealth of knowledge, but zero wisdom, so their extreme ability to be smart is futile because they're not applying it appropriately. This segues into this awesome request that King Solomon asked the Lord. Well, first, God comes to him first and asks what he wants. See, when we are following God and seeking him above all else, we won't have to go looking for answers. He will oftentimes come to us. I love reading this because they taught us this at Sagebrush. 3 things about God's will. 1, God's will is about today, not about tomorrow. 2, God's will is about pursuing him and not pursuing an answer. And 3, God's will is more about our character than our comfort. See, Solomon was following all the things because God already knew. Solomon following all these things because God already knew that Solomon wanted to seek wisdom and the fact that he needed to lead the people. But Solomon did not go to request this to God. God came to him in a dream because Solomon was following God's will. Secondly, Solomon showed humbleness when asked from the Lord what he wants. He said, man, God, you have shown your love to my father, subsequently me, by having me sit on the throne. This was both being humble and having reverence for God. This amazing part of the story, this is the amazing part of the story for me, is how God said, because you have not asked for something selfish, wealth, or the death of your enemies, here's why you have been granted wisdom. But also because you did not ask of it, I'm still going to give it to you. Wow. In addition to continue to follow, and you will have a long life. It's amazing how God gives us not only what we need, but an overflow. It's a reminder for us, by following God, everything we need will be added accordingly. Just as I mentioned earlier in my point, wisdom is about applying the knowledge to life. We are not given the exact moment, but the Bible speaks of sometime later. But we see the wisdom God gave Solomon on display as he renders justice for the two prostitutes, and the baby. Just like with anything God gives us, wisdom is a gift. We must use what he gives us. And this was a perfect example. And that was my chapter 3.
Not the Bible notes. My first point for chapter 3 is importance of fatherhood. It is an amazing gift to be blessed with children. They belong to God, and he entrusted us to train them up in the way that they should go, and that is toward him. Children are like sponges, and they soak up everything before them. See, what we exemplify love toward God is what they will follow to be true, and the same goes vice versa. So as fathers, we're setting an example whether we know it or not. Notice it says in verse 3 that Solomon loved Yahweh by walking in the statutes of David, his father. So this tells me David had to have been walking in the manners and ways of God for Solomon to follow it, and it be said by doing so he loved God. This is the importance of fatherhood, and it bears the question, what ways are you teaching? You know that they say actions are louder than words, and so what I do speaks more than what I say. Am I teaching to follow and love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul? Or am I showing that it's okay to do whatever and never change or partially change? Everything I do is monitored. And as I was just told by the owner of my job, because you're a leader and assistant, what you do, people watch and see. So much more I have to take this, especially when applied to my children. What are our actions speaking to our children about love for God? My second point is trick question. You know, it's truly amazing, this whole display of genie that happens here. God asked Solomon, what do you ask that I should give to you? My goodness, an open-ended question which enables me to answer any way I choose. The possibilities are endless, and what we see is Solomon asks for wisdom. Now, Solomon was already a wise man, and this here just continues to prove his wisdom. Most people, especially in today's world, are swinging for money, houses, cars, and whatever else the mind can think of. Solomon simply wants the wisdom to be able to lead and govern the people. And if he's going to get that from anyone, it would certainly be from the only wise God. So although I may be wise, I need more to be effective to the people of God. That speaks volumes of itself, but I wasn't led to that. What got me was how the master in chief Yahweh showed how supreme his wisdom is with this trick question. For after Solomon answers, God says, because you asked for this thing and not the pile of selfish things you could have, I will grant you your desire. He gave him wisdom, and then just because he can have him, and just because he can, gave him the things he didn't ask for as well. God has funny ways of getting you to reveal you to you. See, God already knows what Solomon would ask for, but I'm asking Solomon, but in my asking, Solomon gets the chance to confess what really lies in his heart, revealing to all who he really is. If Solomon was a selfish man at heart within, then at this point of whatever you ask, it would have shown forth. Stop chasing those things, and he will bestow them unto you. And my last point is prove what you seek. Many times there's something we desire, and once we have it, we feel like that's it. You say you want a house, and so you get one and then have problems maintaining it or budgeting or things of that nature. We seek cars and then are not able to maintain payment or even maintenance needed for the upkeep of the car. The point I'm trying to make is when you seek something out, you'll have to prove that you can manage and have what you seek. This is exactly what I get from the ending of this chapter. Solomon seeks wisdom and God grants his desire. And what happens directly after is he has to prove that he can not only manage, but put to work that which he's been given. Right after he was granted, the scripture says 2 women sleeping in one house, both with a child, and one child dies, and now they're arguing over whose child it is because one mother accidentally killed the child. Now, on the one hand, it seems like a lot of he said, she said. Clearly, there's no DNA test out, and so it was not easy to cipher through this situation. Yeah, that's true. Yet instead of becoming frustrated and disturbed, Solomon in his wisdom strikes a plan and it works as intended. See, Solomon shows I didn't just want wisdom to be revered or have others in awe of me. I did not lie when I said wisdom so that I may lead the people. For in his very first outing, he saved the child back to their parent. This kind of wisdom is vital, even still to this day. The wisdom of God will teach and show you how to respond and react to any and every situation. This should be a valuable lesson when asking and seeking things. We have to self-examine and ensure we're ready to prove that which we seek, because once it is given, it's shortly to come to the proving. That's my chapter 3.
I dig it. When you mentioned the heart, first thing that came to my mind was the heart is the most wicked thing. The heart is the most wicked organ of the body, and above all things, it's the most deceitful.
Yep.
Copy. My first point.
That's the other joint that I seen it, but nothing came to mind right for it. Go ahead, E.
My first point is verse 1. They'll read, Solomon made an alliance with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, by marrying Pharaoh's daughter. So I put affinity, because one verse said affinity or alliance with Pharaoh. It's interesting to see a Pharaoh of Egypt back in the play of things. Will this Pharaoh have a similar style of rule as the previous one we read about back in Exodus? Was it an attraction to his daughter that led Solomon to do this? Was this a move to become connected to the Pharaoh?
Yes, ma'am.
Or was there a different reason to make a marriage contract with the daughter of a king of Egypt in an alliance? My bad, of Egypt. What do you think? What was the purpose?
My bad, my niece is talking. One more time. Somebody was talking to me. That's rude. I'm supposed to ignore my nieces?
No, I didn't say that. I would never say that.
One more time.
Was it an attraction to his daughter that led Solomon to do this? Was this a move to become connected to the Pharaoh, or was there a different reason to make a marriage contract with the daughter of a king or of the king of Egypt? What was his reasoning in asking for her of all the females out there?
Yeah.
It's done.
Oh my.
I feel like she looked good.
I was about to say, I want to say.
I just felt that she was hot.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go.
know.
I feel like he looked at her and said, "Yo, she's bad. I want that." Yo, Pharaoh. Pharaoh.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let me get your daughter.
Hey.
Can I have your daughter for the rest of my life?
Abishag was right there, dude. Abishag was a virgin. Abishag was a hot chick.
Solomon.
Abishag was right there. He didn't even have to go anywhere. She was right in the bed for him.
You're not listening, though.
He was 70. He was 70. What are we gonna do? Cuddle?
Not just that he's
not David, Solomon.
What are you talking about?
Oh, okay.
He just
No. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm just saying. You think Abishag was the one he married?
No, he's asking, why do you think he married Pharaoh's daughter?
I heard that part. I was waiting for everybody else to respond because I didn't really have a response for that. I think he just did it. I think he just did it just to do it. But you were talking about Abishag, saying she was a bad shorty.
Well,
he's saying Solomon could have took her instead of
Pharaoh's daughter.
But I think
how you know Pharaoh's daughter wasn't a dime?
That's a good question. I think, because Bathsheba was David's favorite, Solomon was too close. The relationship was there, so I don't think he would have took her after she belonged to the father.
That was his stepmom.
I don't think he'd have did that.
1 second.
Not pouring her. We don't do that.
I mean, I don't know that.
That's the code. That's the code.
That's because I don't think
Adonijah wanted her. He wanted the throne.
Yeah, he wanted her because he would have just gave their parents. Oh,
that nigga would have married Bathsheba if he could, huh?
Yo, listen.
That
Adonijah
nigga
felt
take
like,
anything he
mommy,
can get.
mother,
That
we ain't
nigga
really
take any
related.
money he can get,
Stop,
yo.
stop.
We ain't really related.
Hey, Hop,
I'm not
Hop,
even being funny. I'm being
Hop,
serious.
Hop. It's cut. It's cut. It's
I don't. Why are
cut.
you saying hop? I'm not even the one that was talking.
It's cut.
You're
It's
talking to
cut.
the wrong one, genius.
It's
I think he
cut.
did. I think he did it, dude, to get in with the Pharaoh. You know what I
That
mean?
man said, I
But
think
what is he
he would
getting
have.
from
Yeah, but
Pharaoh?
what is he getting?
That's what
Yeah,
I'm trying to
because
find out. I mean, we
I
haven't
don't
gone
know.
there yet. I hope we
yeah,
There's nothing to gain from that.
When it said he made an
no
alliance,
Pharaoh.
he just says alliance. That means they doing
Of
something.
course, he made an alliance. That's
you
what
got
happens
to.
when you
That's how I
marry the
got your daughter.
daughter.
I got your daughter.
So it
We
wasn't that. It's
we in
not
bed
saying
together
that
now.
No,
he
he's
did
not
it
good.
for the alliance. He just made an alliance by marrying her.
That was probably one of the conditions. Like, hey, we get an alliance. Hey, sure, I got my daughter
Yo,
over there, man.
But
that
that
is
leads
Let's scoop
back to
her
the
up.
standard.
original question: why did Solomon decide to go with her?
That's what I'm
No, I'm
saying.
saying, but that's what.
The
But the line,
the
The
I don't think the
alliance is
alliance
alliance
is
may have
standard.
created.
been.
Yeah,
It's
it's
No,
standard
standard
from you
back
married
then.
my daughter. You
That's
married my
automatic.
daughter. We in alliance. We family. Like
so
I
why
need
do you
you.
mean?
You
Why did
come.
he choose
You
her if it was standard? What do you mean?
out of all
No,
what he is asking is out of all the females out there, why did you choose the Pharaoh's daughter to be like, yo, I want you?
But I thought you just said that that's part of the alliance is to marry the daughter.
no.
We're saying is forget
He
the
gained the
alliance.
alliance because he married her.
That's like, yo, Josh, why did you marry
Are we
Tanisha?
sure though? Because
Holy
it says the
What?
alliance
smokes.
before
Hey,
it says he married the
Ezra,
daughter.
what's your next point, yo?
I'm about to-
Well, why are you doing that, man? I'm trying to understand.
So
I almost said something off a movie. I was about to say it's just bukkake everywhere. Like this is ridiculous.
But he made the alliance before it says he married the daughter, so that made me feel like the alliance, the marrying the
I
daughter was
gotta go
part of
back
the
and read it.
alliance.
Yeah, I'm going
Protocol.
back.
Oh man.
Talking
It's
about
like
briefing him.
I'm not gonna ask for your hand. I'm not gonna ask for your daughter's hand in marriage after I marry her. I gotta ask for your daughter's hand in marriage prior to me marrying her. Prior to me even asking her if she's willing to marry me.
See,
So
where
I feel
you
like the
getting?
alliance with him and Pharaoh was prior to him asking for the daughter's hand. That was the act. Can I ask for your daughter's hand in marriage? Do you mind if I marry your daughter? That's where the alliance begins.
That's not what mine says.
What does yours
But
read?
what
Mine
Brush your
says
chapter?
teeth.
mine
High
says
five.
What verse are you reading?
chapter 1. It says Solomon made an alliance with Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and married one of his daughters.
Chapter 1.
We in chapter
Verse 1,
3.
verse 1,
No,
verse 1.
verse 1. My bad. Verse 1.
Yeah, verse 1. Okay, so our Bibles read differently because mine just
Yeah,
says
because
he intermarried with Pharaoh, the king of Egypt.
Oh,
and he took the daughter
we
of
always
Pharaoh
run into
and
that
brought her to
every.
the city of David, and then the alliance formed
Okay,
following.
hold on. Stand by, caller. Let me see.
And by that call, bro.
So mine reads, Solomon made an alliance with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, by marrying Pharaoh's daughter.
So once the marriage happened,
Yeah, so it's different.
translations.
Yeah, so I ultimately then I don't want to go off of which one was first then because depending on translation, you got a different. So really, the factor is what was the purpose anyway? Why didn't you stay within?
Yeah.
Especially
Maybe
because
she was a baddie, you know. She just happened, you know.
That's what I'm saying. I felt like sure he looked and was like, "Hey, yo," almost like Rachel and Leah. He seen one. It was like, "Yo,
Thank you.
who's
Thank you.
she?"
Hey,
you
thank you,
can't
sir.
use that.
No,
No,
How do
not
you
like
use that?
that. Thank
I
you. You
need that. I
How
can't.
do you
need
use
that.
that?
I
You
need
can't.
that. It helps
I'm
my case.
listening.
That was
I'm
totally.
listening.
That was a totally
Because
separate
those are
thing.
way two different situations.
No,
Thank you, James. Thank
what
you.
he's
Hey,
saying helps
What
my
I'm
case.
saying is when he seen her, he was like, "Yo." Out of all the other shorties that I've seen that I've passed
See,
by,
but
I
that's
seen her. I
not
was
the
like,
same.
But hear me out, Yosh. I
He
don't
never
feel like
wanted.
she was a baddie. Excuse
what
me.
James
She
said.
could have been. She could have been. I don't feel
So
like she's a baddie
you
because
thought she was ugly? He thought she was ugly.
no. Not that she wasn't ugly. Not that she was ugly, but she wasn't a baddie. Here's why. With Leah's situation, it
Why
was
do we keep going
mentioned.
back to
He was
Leah?
no, just hear me out because I already thought about this. It mentions she was a bad chick. She was fair to the eye. She was beautiful. Da 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 da.
But
With,
that's
with
because
Abby,
the
hold on,
chapter, yo.
hold on. With
All right, go
Abishag,
ahead.
look at what they said about Abishag. She was young. She was pretty. She was a virgin. It mentions everything that you wanted to know about her. With this chick, the only thing you know is it's
They
Pharaoh's
don't
daughter.
mention nothing.
It
Yeah.
don't say she was pretty. It don't say she was had hair flowing down her back. It don't say she was thick as all get out. It just say she was Pharaoh's daughter.
Is
To
it fair to
me,
say that wasn't relevant?
okay, it could be. I'm saying for me,
So
for my
outside of the
take,
fact that she's Pharaoh's daughter, what else
what
led him
else is
to?
there? What else do you mention about her?
Abishag is like the Kardashians, you know. Everybody's gonna have them, you know, pretty cool. But
She's a
Pharaoh's daughter is
virgin.
one of them baddies in the videos. They'll be like, hey,
I
I
got a question.
know.
Abishag was a virgin.
Well,
David ain't smashed. David ain't hit
outside of
that.
that,
David.
That's my
That's what
thing.
I'm
Why
saying.
not
well, that
make
is
it
David ain't.
true. Well,
Abishag?
that is true. He didn't hit.
So
He didn't hit.
so
I
he didn't
mean,
lay pipe like a plumber. So then she still got that
I
V card. It
mean,
ain't got taken yet.
you know,
So
he
she
say
bad
he
and
may
she
got
still
some
got the
sloppy
virginity
toppy. We
card.
don't know. We don't know what.
Nigga say he got the guap
Hey,
8000.
we don't
Chill.
know. We don't know.
Oh shoot! I hate Chris.
That was my thing. It didn't mention anything about her beauty, her looks,
I feel you.
whereas in the Bible it does say for other females. The only thing we
Yeah.
read about her is she's Pharaoh's daughter. So for me, I felt like what was there to gain from this Pharaoh and you binding a connection with him? The only way you bind a connection with him, you go after his daughter. Now you know you have a formed alliance. You know you have a formed whatever with him. So that was my take. I just wanted to hear what y'all thought and if y'all thought about it.
Better not be like the king of the north. Go to the red wedding, you end up dead. You and your whole crew. So sad.
So I mean, I guess in essence, I'm gonna just from looking it up real quick. Hop may be right as far as the alliance,
Man,
because
don't
it
tell him
says
to
that
be right.
Egypt was a neighbor of great stature, and so Solomon aligned with the people from Egypt. So that might be why.
Don't be mad at me because you're not first and you last. That's your saying, sir, Ricky Bobby.
Nigga
Oh,
said
I
you
was
could
about to say, I
come.
don't know what you're talking
Nigga
about.
said
I'm
you could
never
come in
last.
second,
Don't say
third.
that. Don't tell him that.
Nigga said you
Don't
could
be
come in
that.
second, third,
That might be
fourth.
right.
Heck, you can even come in fifth.
He said you might. He didn't confirm. He
Hey,
didn't say
I
you
know,
might.
but you said something about it. You could have just stayed quiet and everybody would have been cool.
You asked the question. You
I
be
still
always
feel like
want
I
to
he
be
is
should
right.
know what y'all thought. I have an opinion. I can't have an opinion in my question.
You do whatever you like.
Crazy.
You
I still feel like she was bad.
copy. My next
Yo, that
point.
nigga
Nigga
swerved that
stupid.
so quick.
My next point is verse 9. So it says, so give your servant a receptive heart to judge your people and to discern between good and evil. So I put beyond his years. I have always understood the request as asking for wisdom. Now it feels a bit different. One verse reads, an understanding heart. This one reads, a receptive heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. To me, this is more than wisdom, for my wisdom is mental, whereas he asked for an understanding heart, not a mental growth to know more, but a growth in heart to feel more. What was his mother teaching him at such a young age? So, y'all said, and I'm not disagreeing with you, I just thought differently. Y'all said David was teaching him. I felt like, what was his mother teaching him at such a young age? He was courageous enough to send his hitman out, yet smart enough to know I need to feel for myself. See, his father guided him to get rid of certain men, so I'm not sure how this played how his how he played these situations out. I feel like he was well beyond his years. For Solomon was about 12 or so, preteen, early teens, when he became the king. My son is 13, and if God were to tell him, ask what I shall give thee, I'm not sure what he'd say. However, I truly don't know that he would ask for an understanding heart.
I'm
That
gonna
he
ask
would,
for waves.
I know for
he
sure.
might,
Right?
he might ask for some ways.
I know for sure he's not going to ask for understanding heart.
That he would
So,
do
He
right
said
by
he
others.
asking for waves.
At the same time, Solomon recently lost his dad, and yet he was ready to
Bless
serve and rule the people, which helps my case that he was beyond his years. As an adult, I will be devastated on the day and time around which my dad goes home. I give Solomon and his teachers a great deal of credit for the lessons he was taught and learned in his early stages. So my question to y'all is, do you feel like
yes.
do you feel David was his main teacher? Do you feel my bad? My question is for y'all. However, dude, I need you to stop chewing for a moment because I don't want that to be an excuse. I
That's
told you.
mad rude. Everybody else get to eat but me.
I got a question for you, Bucko. I told you I got a question for you, Bucko.
I'm
Do
listening.
you feel like David was one of his main teachers? Do you feel like Bathsheba was one of his main teachers? I don't want to hear equal. I
I
don't
don't
want
think
equal.
Bathsheba would. I don't think. I really. I don't think Bathsheba was
I'm
much of a
Hold on,
taking
teacher.
David.
Yosh. He got to answer this, Yosh. Hold on. He got to answer
I
first.
don't think Bathsheba was much of a teacher. If I was to guess, she had a role much like the roles are today, a nurturer and not a teacher. Just
Are you
so David.
discrediting females? Oh,
No,
shit.
no,
Oh,
no, no,
shit.
no, 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 no. I'm just. Why are you making that? Females they're natural nurturers. There's
Oh,
natural
buddy.
nurturers.
Okay, okay. Clear that up, buddy. This is good. This is
That's
being
what I said the first time.
this is being recorded, Bucko.
Ah,
You're gonna have some people at your head.
He's a woman
I
hater.
think it was mainly
How
David.
dare you? Whoa.
All right, Yosh, what's your thought? Bathsheba, David.
I'm gonna take David just because. I mean, not knowing really a whole lot about Bathsheba, but just in following in David's story and in following David, he's always been a man after God's heart. He's always had a relationship with God, as well as he was also wise enough to never make the same mistake or accident twice.
Wait, hold on, baby.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say that.
Hold
I was
on.
gonna leave it alone.
Don't make that statement, baby.
I mean, other than women, he had a
Yeah,
problem.
that boy will have a weakness, boy.
Other than women,
That boy
but
had a
like,
weakness.
yeah. But like, as far as like when he sent Buddy to the front line to die,
Yeah, that nigga
he
come out the house. Oh, she bathing naked?
But I
He
feel
was like,
like,
hold on.
hey, whoa,
Wait a minute.
she got the yams and thousands of feet of third world country. Hey, who that?
Oh,
Yeah,
shoot.
I just feel like as far as like I personally say David just because of the tale of his life, the following his story and everything. It just I personally would go with David was more so of the teacher, all the way to the end on his deathbed.
Good point, Josh.
Go ahead.
Even answer.
Not discrediting women at all.
Dang, see,
I
we
mean,
was
because
cool.
your answer was discrediting females altogether, especially
It wasn't.
moms. You know what I mean? Do I need to call her right now? I need to call mama right now and let her talk to you.
She sleeps. She had a long day. She sleeps.
Tell her how you out here talk about her.
She
This
sleep.
man
Had a long
said
No,
day.
she
I gave her credit. They nurturers.
Okay. Okay.
Forget about her baby. Call her right now.
If they
Scrub.
black, they child abusers.
Hydra. Where's Hydra at?
I don't know. I'm in the room.
Yo, this nigga's stupid. This nigga's retarded.
These niggas is stupid, bro.
Yo.
Call Max. Get Max on here real quick. Tell her join my Zoom link. Tell her how
She ain't
she
gonna
getting
join.
talked about.
I'm gonna
She
tell
tired.
friends
What
calling
time
me
is
to
it?
call her.
7:33. She about to go to
She's not
sleep.
gonna answer you. You better believe it.
She about to go to sleep.
Oh shoot.
Come on, Scrub. What y'all got?
Going
David
off what
Bathsheba.
Yoshi said,
Oh, man.
and then going back to what is
Please
it?
don't go back to Chris.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
That's fine.
And then going back to chapter 2, the passing off roles. With the passing off roles, he had to just fall back in line of what David was doing with obeying God and stuff like that. So I do feel like it was David.
Okay.
See, you mess me. It depends. I feel like depending on what area we talking about. You know what I mean? But knowing you don't want to hear that. So
Yeah, please don't give me both.
I'm
talking about the area of his just being smart enough, being wise enough to choose this amongst all things. Okay, you got a 12-year-old. Ask Mojo Jojo right now. Hey, tell him God told him.
When he get my money
he's
first
not
before he
even
asks
gonna
me
talk.
anything.
He's not even gonna talk. I'll tell you that right now. I'm trying to be honest.
He in
Okay.
trouble?
Be honest.
Wait.
I'm trying to be honest.
Okay.
What's the matter with Joe?
No.
So
JoJo not talking don't even
wrong.
sound logical, dude.
He doing wrong. JoJo been on wrong. If you haven't paid attention, I've noticed.
Yeah, I mean common sense. You answer what makes sense and you just let fly everything else.
When you said he ain't gonna talk, I said okay.
I've become professional at just tuning people out. It's just so easy. I would have to go with David. You know what I mean? It's hard because I feel like David, the man, when it came to women, he wanted what he wanted. But everything else, like even from the beginning of David's choosing, he never was one that was like, I want the throne. He never was one that was like, I want to be known. But just based off what it said, he loved God just by following in his father's steps. So if I'm following in my father's steps, then clearly I had to learn a bunch of stuff that helps me walk in this manner. So for me, and it's only, I hate to go all David, but because the Bible speaks nothing of Bathsheba teaching, that's the route I go.
All right. I went Bathsheba only for the sake of her bringing it back to David. I just felt like two things. David, you didn't reprimand
Adonijah.
Which I'm not saying you're a bad dad for not doing so. You just didn't do it for whatever reason. I'm sure you had your reason. I don't know what it is.
That was
makes sense to me, but okay. 2, it was like she had to bring the idea of Solomon to David, not as though. When I read that, for me, it felt like she wasn't right beside him all the time, because he had several females, several concubines in his chambers or whatever. So to me, it was like, okay, well, yes, he is a guy after God's heart. He is a leader. Is he monitoring all his children
He does.
under the same roof, whatever? So I just felt like it was Bathsheba. I just felt like, to me, it was Bathsheba who was his teacher. So anyway, my last point is verse 12. It says, I will therefore do what you have asked. I will give you a wise and understanding heart so that there has never been anyone like you before and never will be. So it says God agreed. God also determined there is a difference, for God said, I have given thee a wise and understanding heart. Wise heart that Solomon would be able or knowledgeable in his judging, and understanding heart that his awareness would be in tune to them as people and not as peasants. And that's my chapter 3. Oh.
Hey, Chris, I know you don't got a lot to look forward to in basketball, but at least your football team is winning.
Hey, next year is our year, man. You know, next year is our year.
Oh, my God. You might as well
You
put
got
it
to
on
keep
a-
saying it until it happens.
Put it
Better
on
hope
a
y'all don't got
record.
James Harden.
First of all, you watch your tongue.
Underdog, put that on a t-shirt. Don't even put it on the record. That's a waste. You can wear it all
Yo,
the time whenever you feel like it. There you go. There you go. Who's
I can't see what that says.
It says who's note. They misspelled it.
The only reason why
did.
y'all are relevant right now is because you got LeBron. Y'all not even LeBron fans.
Stop saying
Because we
that.
got
Oh.
AD.
I bet it
Let
says
me tell you
who's
why.
not.
We
Let
had
me tell you
LeBron
why.
last year. What happened?
Where did we get last
So
year?
why did AD win when he was the Pelicans since he's so nice?
Why didn't LeBron win last year? AD had a better record than LeBron did last year. You want to be
Yeah.
technical?
Tell him again.
If
Wait,
you want to
what?
be technical,
Say
Last
it
year,
louder.
AD's
LeBron-
team had a better record than the Lakers last year.
Did he even make the playoffs?
Did the Lakers make the playoffs?
We wasn't even in the
'Cause y'all
conversation.
trash.
You know you don't mean that.
We didn't make it either.
Y'all were nothing without LeBron. LeBron came
Y'all
and
only
saved y'all.
2 times of being relevant in the past couple years.
That's
Kobe
a lie.
stopped
Ever
y'all
since
from
James
winning.
Harden,
No.
we've been relevant. Been to
No,
the conference
when y'all
finals.
had Tracy,
We've been to the semis.
when y'all had Yao Ming,
Y'all went to the semis, and
y'all
that's as
could have
good
did
as
it.
y'all get.
And when
you
y'all had
like
Ron
Yao.
Artest,
They
Yao
weren't
Yao
was
was
an
your
8-foot shooting guard. That's
Yao
why
was your
y'all
relevant.
lost. He didn't play no center.
You want me to pull up? You want me to pull up highlights where he's dunking on Shaq?
You want me to pull up highlights when he went home crying?
That's because he hurt his foot, man. He was too
When
Got
tall,
dunked on
man.
by Nate
Too
Robb.
big.
Kobe put that Spalding
He
ball
did
in
get
his
dunked
neck.
on by Nate.
Nate Robb said, "Hey, hold this big fella."
He wasn't a great shot blocker.
He wasn't a
man.
center. He was a 9-foot shooting guard. We already discussed it. That nigga wore a size 56 shoe. That's why he
I take a
couldn't get
Super
to the
Bowl.
rim.
I take
in
a
time.
Super Bowl
That
in
nigga
lieu. I take a Super Bowl in lieu of the.
First of all, y'all not winning the
You're
Super
not getting
Bowl.
that.
I was
You're not
just letting you
getting
know.
Why we
Don't
not?
do that. Don't do that.
You're
Hey,
not getting that.
you see the goat over there playing football, man. He
Y'all
just,
ain't playing no defense.
We just-
That's the problem right there.
check the stats. We in the top 5 in defense.
Oh, God, in 4 games.
All right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yo, the beginning
Nigga
of
said in
the
4 games.
season, the beginning of the season, you're not even playing nobody. I bet you the team y'all playing just bumming it. I bet you that's what's happening.
No,
They
the
just missing
Broncos. The
passes.
Broncos have been pretty good.
Broncos been trash. Broncos have been pure dookie.
First of all,
They got a contract for
everyone's
Peyton Manning right now. They put it on ESPN. They got
everyone's a
contract
professional. All
trying
right,
to bring him
everyone's
back.
a
Yo.
pro.
Trying to
He's
get that
playing
man
against
back out of
pros.
retirement. He out there singing songs with that daggone country singer. They're trying to get him back.
I got an idea for you. I ain't gonna hold you. I got an idea for you.
Wait, what's the
you do
Cowboys
is-
record before he even started talking about
What you do?
football?
I'm not talking about football. I'm not talking about football.
Oh, okay.
What I do is I tell you, if you talk to your general manager, you might be able to trade James Harden for LaMelo Ball. That
I
sounds
don't want
fair.
that. Sorry, dude. He's trash.
I think he's gonna be a
that's a
bust
fair
when he
trade.
get him.
We about to get Miles Turner. He's a big good fit, boy.
Is that your game plan to
Hey,
win next year?
James said we're one piece away. I believe.
James
Nah,
been saying
Turner.
that since he got to Houston.
Nah, Miles Turner.
Ball.
He has been saying that every year. He's like, we're one piece away. Now
he
he's
is
like,
that
with
one
me and
piece. Once
Me and
B
Russ
goes
are one
away,
piece.
y'all become something.
No, never. He
LaMelo gonna have to play that 2 guard because they keeping Russ.
Let me tell you
He
the
ain't playing
problem.
one.
Y'all should have
LaMelo.
kept James Harden. Should have got along with Chris Paul, and y'all
I
might
want
have
that
been
dude.
able to do something.
Yeah.
I low key would have liked to keep CP3, but I like Russ too. So whatever.
Russ he's y'all Achilles right there. He's killing
Oh,
y'all.
Yeah.
we been winning. They
Because
should
when y'all
not
was
went all the way small. You didn't
when
need
y'all
to
was
go all
playing
the way
Golden
small.
State, CP3 was
Don't
the one
blame it on
hitting
the. Don't blame
threes.
it on small ball, yo. Russ, when Harden go to the bench and Russ is leading the floor, y'all know y'all go negative.
That's because everybody
Hey,
be letting
I
him
can't wait to
shoot.
hear this.
That's because everybody let him shoot. You need a big man on the floor.
What is the big man gonna do for the perimeter?
He played
There's
good
no
with
more
Steven
Yao
Adams.
Mings.
I don't understand
There's
that
no
he
more
played
Yao
good with
Mings.
Steven
You're not
Adams.
getting another 9
That's
foot
because Steven
shooting guard.
Adams let Russ have his way, yo.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like it was more D'Antoni's fault because he was hooping with Steven Adams. He didn't need.
That's because
They weren't
Steven
talking
Adams
about.
let Russ have his way.
So you're just trying to get more coaches fired, is what you're saying?
That's
it's
it.
time for a
Steven Adams
change.
let him do what he
Time for a
wants.
change. I want Jeff
Hey,
back.
yo,
I want
Steven.
Jeff back.
Hey, yo, Steven, I want that rebound. It's yours, Russ.
Yo, you see
Steven,
where
I want
Doc
that
is
block.
going?
It's yours, Russ. Where's he
Where?
going?
What you call in the East is trying to get him. I don't know if he's gonna do it though.
Philly?
Yeah, Philly's trying to get him. I don't know if he's gonna take it though, but
That's a headache.
yeah, it is. Too many people. They got to cut some people out of there.
Yeah.
They need
I'm
to get
sorry.
a new big man.
On
many hands in the
paper,
pot.
they the best team in the league. That's the sad part. On paper, they're the best team.
They don't have a leader.
No,
They really
I
don't.
know. I don't know what's going on over. They got way too many people to be losing.
Tobias.
They
Ben,
are like
Joel.
the first OKC. Like on paper, they got a million dudes, yo.
On the floor, can nobody
It just don't
leave
work
nothing.
out.
Oh,
It don't
now
work
we
out.
winning. I like it.
Oh,
like it. Let's go ahead
yeah,
and
I'm about to make Javon watch it with me since we both Laker fans. Scooby! It's not the Knicks, it's the Lakers.
Go to Naka.
Who said the Knicks? Who said that? They need to go and talk
That's
out.
Javon's a Knicks fan, man.
They said they need to go inside.
Hey, Tanaka?
Guys, what's the remote?
Hydra! I don't know why you're so rude, man.
Yo, I put it on baby, as it's calling me.
Nah. Oh, wow. I don't like the hairs. Like, you know what? There used to be a time when we was cool. Like, there used to be a time when I felt like you actually loved me. Like, we were family. I meant something to you. You was even willing to cook me some strawberry cake for my
Timber, what you
birthday.
talking about? Look at
Ain't
her
nobody
face. She's like,
talking
are
to
you
you.
done yet? I'm
Nobody
telling you.
talking.
She's like, are you done yet? Look at her face.
I said yes.
Like, but look at how you saying it like I'm getting on your nerves. I'm getting on your nerves.
What?
You saying it like he said is he getting on your nerves?
What is it?
Okay, you know
Thank
what?
you.
We good.
All right, tell
Good.
him to stop bothering you while you trying to relax. Damn.
Jay said
Where's
I
the
had a
remote
long day.
Watch the
I'm
Laker
tired.
game.
Where's the remote? Oh, shoot. I
Let's
don't
go
even
to
think so.
Naga.
Probably not.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I gotta see it in order to believe it.
Stop.
Yo, where's it at?
What are we
I don't
doing?
even know what channel the game is on. That's the
Oh,
sad
y'all
part.
losing, huh? See, you're not even a real fan. You don't know what channels are. That's crazy.
I wish somebody talking to me would make the finals.
Singer still on? Yes.
Hey, Jimmy a dog
Yo.
now. Jimmy is a dog.
I'm going over. Huh? Well, we're doing study.
Oh, it's on ABC. It's on ABC, huh?
So I'm going on.
I'm at ABC. I don't see nothing.
Oh, you gotta talk. It's with the A, with the B, and the C, not
Wow, that
NBC.
man
This
tried
nigga's
you.
Tried you like you was a little nigga. That man tried you like you was a little nigga.
It's not even on yet. It's not even on yet. Y'all
It's
rushing.
about to be. It's about to be. We got 13 minutes. Don't worry about it.
We're gonna
Hey,
do
can you just
matchups real
tune
quick.
in?
We
That's
gonna
why I
do
couldn't
matchups
find
real
it,
quick.
yo.
Who's
It's on the
not?
countdown.
I'm waiting for one of you to close out. I opened up. When nobody want to close out, I gotta close out. I'm not closing out.
I'll close. Father, we thank you for another week of study, another week of us being able to come together to discuss your word, hear everybody's points of views, be able to get a paradigm shift, to be able to see and hear from other people's views. Us hitting on the same point, but hitting on it from different points of views and taking it different avenues. And Father, we just love the growth. We thank you for the growth that we've all seen within each other and that others have seen within us. We love the growth. We love the strengthening. We love the bond. Father, we just ask that as we prepare to embark on another week of study, that you would continue to be with us, that you would open up our eyes further, help us to dive deeper, to be able to break down further, to be able to just get closer to you. And for another week of iron sharpening the iron that'll come next week, Wednesday. Father, we just ask that you would keep us as we prepare to all get off the phone, go about the rest of our night. Just keep us, keep your hand upon us, protect us. Help us to keep our spiritual lenses, antennas, and awareness up. Help us to not let our guard down and not be ignorant to the enemy's devices. And Father, we just thank you and love you for all that you've done, all that you've got to do, and how you keep expanding us. In Jesus' name, amen. Oh, shoot.
Amen.
So,
Hey, real quick, hold
something
on, real quick.
interesting happened. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Just smack
Nah,
So I just
so
want to know. I just want to know if Ezra can turn the recording off because I don't want people to see my other side. This is my good side.
Special.
so
I can't stop recording. Oh, yes, I can.